One, this world is plagued by dangerous dungeons, darkling nests that only heroes can clear. While they fight, a weary old supervisor steps into their camp. He calls out to Suyoshi, a struggling cleaner busy stuffing his face with ramen. He snaps, warning the kid to actually take his cleanup job seriously today. Other teams are working too, so slacking off means going home empty-handed. No slacking, no scrap metal. He is clearly no legendary hero. Just a bottom-tier trash collector scavenging whatever the actual fighters leave behind. With noodles still hanging from his mouth, he turns around to complain. Why do we need so many scavengers for a simple C-rank cave? The dark-haired youth gets a harsh reality check as the supervisor sighs. Times are tough, and desperate people are turning to this dirty work to survive. Suddenly, a loud shout echoes across the camp, cutting their talk short. The raid party is returning. That means it is finally time to work. Suyoshi quickly gulps down his remaining food and grabs his gear. The crew gathers up and marches toward the glowing portal of the cave. One of the novices trembles, terrified just by stepping near a C-rank gate. He cannot even imagine the suffocating dread of an A-rank or S-rank dungeon. Just then, the elite heroes emerge, radiating an incredibly powerful aura. Standing in the dirt, Suyoshi watches them with wide, longing eyes. He once dreamed of joining their ranks, but his weak body failed him. The warriors slay the beasts, leaving the scraps for scavengers like him. They are mere trash collectors, the polar opposites of those shining legends. Steel your nerves, they are stepping into the gate now. The cavern is relatively small, a typical feature of a lower C-rank dungeon. A loud voice warns everyone to move fast before the gate collapses. They only have 4 hours to pick the entire place clean. Though Suyoshi usually struggles, luck finally seems to be on his side. He unearths a broken shield fragment, drawing a grin from his senior. Maybe his late parents really are watching over him today. Eager for more, he asks to search deeper into the cave. Nakasato nods, warning him to meet back up in 3.5 hours. He spends the entire afternoon digging, but finds absolutely nothing else. A single scrap will not pay for his sister Karina's heavy medical bills. He needs a miracle to cover her hospital expenses for even one day. Refusing to give up, he keeps looking until he spots a strange structure. An old well sits deep inside the cavern, highly suspicious. Who builds a well inside a cave, and who would actually go near it? Well, Suyoshi is desperate enough to take that exact risk. He hopes to find intact gear to finally pay off Karina's treatment. Looking deep inside, he spots a skeletal hand wearing a gleaming ring. His heart leaps as he reaches down and slides it off the bone. He can barely contain his frantic excitement over holding this potential jackpot. A rare item like this holds a buff and sells for a small fortune. He slips the ring onto his finger, keeping it safe for now. He will ask Senior Nakasato to appraise its level later, but right then, slipping it on, the ring suddenly bites his finger, unleashing a wave of pure agony. Agony, a system screen flashes open, naming it the Boundless Ring. It officially recognizes him as its owner. Now it can never be removed. Ownership is locked, and in just a few minutes the boundless passage opens. Suddenly, a portal erupts from the ring, pulling like a miniature black hole. He is dragged right toward the center. He screams, but it is too late. The void swallows him. His classmates hear his scream, but they simply ignore it. They just assume he is getting way too excited searching another area, so they decide to wait right there for him to return in the meantime. Sucked into the portal, he passes out cold. When his eyes finally open, he finds himself tied up before a massive altar, surrounded by angry beast folk. They have scheduled him to receive their terrifying divine punishment. This sentence is a devastating lightning strike, and this temple is sacred ground. Right in front of the altar sits the hideous Beast King, watching closely. He strikes a useless, arrogant pose, looking exactly like the King of Eldians, and casually orders them to begin. 3 criminals stand waiting. The first is one of their own kin who betrayed his people. By selling critical information to the elves and humans, bound by ropes, he gets thrown onto the altar, where a lightning bolt slams down and instantly roasts his flesh to a crisp. Next, the second criminal is announced. It is a human who dared trespass on their ancient, isolated holy land. A territory cut off for thousands of years. This is a declaration of war, a major breach of their covenant. This trespasser is our Pathetic protagonist who cannot even wiggle free from simple ropes. He desperately begs for mercy, yelling that he does not belong here, and that his sister is still waiting, but a beast with hands as huge as a dinosaur's smashes him in the gut so hard it nearly tears his body completely apart. He has zero strength left to speak, unable to believe his life ends like this. Not when his little sister is still waiting for him, not when his dream of becoming a hero is unfinished. Meanwhile, the ugly beasts keep shouting for divine punishment, booing him loudly as a massive lightning bolt strikes the altar. He quickly pulls his legs up, dodging the blast and leaving the beasts completely stunned. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Suyoshi struggles back to his feet, defiantly yelling that he refuses to die in this place, but a second later another bolt hits him directly. His body is cooked to a crisp, still his stubborn will refuses to fade. Suddenly, the divine selection system of his boundless ring activates. It begins repairing his flesh, reconstructing it into the ultimate physical form. As his body begins to glow, the king finally sits up and watches. Another bolt strikes, but Suyoshi survives. The rapid healing only accelerates. Powerful skills flood his system. Through the smoke, a mysterious voice calls him. Dragging his half-cooked body forward, he slowly walks toward the sound. The beasts watch in absolute shock. He is approaching the Divine King's hammer, an ancient, heavy weapon that nobody else has ever dared to approach. Reaching out with raw, charred hands, he tightly grabs the great sword. Our guy pulls it out effortlessly, unleashing a massive lightning storm. This instantly proves that our guy is not some pathetic loser protagonist anymore. Suyoshi decides to wield this divine weapon simply because it literally chose him. A system screen pops up, announcing his brand new acquisition. He has officially claimed the divine hammer and reached level 3 on the spot. However, the true power of the weapon remains completely locked. He just went from absolute zero to a certified legendary hero in a typical isekai setup. Even the curvy demi-human girl waiting on death row is left completely shocked. She cannot believe a fragile human successfully lifted the sacred hammer. The brainless beastmen simply cannot process this with their tiny mental capacity. How could a mortal lift the weapon that even the Demon King could not budge? Legend says whoever lifts this hammer becomes the ultimate leader of their race. This means there must be some sort of mistake because they refuse to accept him. Meanwhile, Suyoshi feels immense power rushing through his veins while staring at his stats. Suddenly, a highly jealous giant leaps down right behind his back. This massive beast is none other than their highly formidable great general, Ruga. He refuses to let a pathetic weakling act so incredibly arrogant here. Ruga demands to know what kind of tricks were used to bypass the punishment. The giant orders him to return the weapon and face execution. Just then, another screen flashes in front of him, activating his divine eye skill. With this active, he can scan detailed statistics of any target. Suyoshi focuses his gaze to check the stats of the massive warrior before him. The giant is a level 84 warrior, which is absolutely out of his league. Because he keeps staring, the beast completely misinterprets his intense gaze. Ruga assumes this weak human is foolishly challenging him for the relic. He instantly draws a massive sword and points the blade directly at him. The heroic aura Suyoshi had a second ago vanishes as he panics. He frantically pleads that it is a misunderstanding, knowing he cannot win. But the brainless monster completely ignores his words and charges straight forward. He swings down with a lethal, earth-shattering strike, terrifying the watching demi-human girl. She is certain he will be sliced clean in half by the legendary Beastman General. The heavy impact kicks up a massive cloud of thick dust across the field. Wait for it, as the air clears, we see our guy block the blow. The massive shockwave leaves his hands completely numb, but the hammer held firm. Ruga opens his eyes in shock that a weakling actually survived his strike. The general clicks his tongue, claiming the boy only survived due to luck. He warns the human that the weapon will not save him again. Suyoshi tries talking, but Ruga rushes forward and grabs his tiny frame. The monster plans to launch him skyward and finish him with an earthshaker move. Just as he is launched high into the air, a system screen suddenly appears. It announces that his absolute replication skill has finally been activated. To use this, he must physically touch the opponent's heart to copy a skill. He can choose any single technique from their active list of abilities. The catch is he can only hold one copied skill at a time. Any new skill will automatically overwrite the old one as he plunges forward. He touches his chest to check his heartbeat, but it feels like a sudden, direct arrow. Straight to the heart, Ryoga briefly becomes a blushing schoolgirl in a mini skirt, but only for 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Suyoshi free falls as random skill options pop up behind him that he does not even recognize. However, one option called Heaven Shaker works perfectly with his hammer, so he locks it in. Ryoga charges back in to finish him off, but freezes in absolute shock when he sees Yoshi activating the exact same skill. Suyoshi plunges downward with a heavy strike, giving Ryoga zero reaction time. As the massive cloud of dust clears away, we see Ryoga locked in a dramatic pose, braced for some absolute disaster to hit him, but nothing happens, completely wasting his dramatic pose. He looks down at his hand, utterly confused as to why there is no pain at all. A game notification pops up for Suyoshi, reminding him he is still only level 3. He has no class yet, meaning he cannot wield weapons properly, and because of that, zero damage was dealt to his opponent. Pure comedy. Ryoga absolutely cannot stand this sheer embarrassment and charges again, but before he can strike, a massive presence lands on stage. The Beast King himself appears with a crushing aura. Even crazier, he actually bows his head right in front of Suyoshi, grabbing him by the shoulders. He declares that Suyoshi is truly the one chosen by the divine hammer, calling it a clear sign from above. After all, nothing like this has happened in hundreds or even thousands of years. He then turns to face his people, shouting that this human managed to draw the legendary hammer completely on his own. If he represents their future, they must allow him to grow instead of cutting him down right now. The beast folk are left completely stunned. The ancient prophecy clearly says the hammer wielder is destined to lead them all, yet this kid is clearly just a human. Ryoga speaks up to voice this very concern, earning a terrifying glare from the king. The king demands to know where the prophecy ever specified their leader must be a beastman. He asks if Ryoga is seriously suggesting they abandon the one carrying their actual hope. Hearing this, Ryoga immediately shrinks down like a scolded puppy, whimpering out nothing but terrified gibberish. Turning back to our boy, the king asks for his name. He politely replies that his name is Suyoshi Sukejo. The king nods and promises that if Suyoshi takes on the weight of their future, he will let him go free today. However, since the boy is currently far too weak, he must train and return. Only then will they truly judge if he deserves to be their ultimate leader. Suddenly, the giant beast king points a razor-sharp claw directly at Sayoshi's forehead. Casting a glowing spell, he warns the boy that if he does not return within 1 year, this curse will let him hunt the boy down and end him anywhere on Earth. This compromise should satisfy the uneasy crowd. Honestly, everything is moving so incredibly fast that Suyoshi can barely register the massive deal he just made. Right then, the demi-human girl yells from the crowd, urging him to take the bargain. She insists it is better to stay alive than to waste a divine blessing. He should take his freedom and focus entirely on growing stronger. Turning his gaze toward her, he suddenly remembers she was slated for execution right after him. He quickly activates his divine eye, shocked to discover she has no name but is already level 72. He is stunned to realize she is actually an elite warrior, still wondering how someone so powerful ended up locked away as a common criminal. He silently raises his hand to thank her for. He suggests this because to him, it really is an absolute miracle. With zero hesitation, he decides survival comes first, then figuring out a way to return to his own world. He accepts the deal on one condition. The drop-dead gorgeous demi-human girl tags along, figuring she might come in handy. Later, under the glowing moon, he remembers where it all began when he first slipped on that ring. It refuses to budge no matter what, but it did grant him all these insane powers. Suddenly, the demi-human girl appears behind him and calls him master, softly letting him know that the preparations are fully complete. He spins around, totally confused by the master title, only to see her standing right there like a proper maiden, declaring her vow to serve him. Though he is supposed to be a hero, he is still incredibly weak against temptation from a gorgeous girl. Inside his mind, he makes a pretty shameless face. But he holds it together, blushes, and tells her that her words truly saved him back then, promising they will support each other from now on. Blushing, she replies that his kindness means the world to her, saying he gave her a fresh start and no one else has ever truly stood by her side. Shyly, she asks if she can keep calling him master. Honestly, at this point, it feels like they are standing at the altar, making their wedding vows. This innocent soul walks up, grabs his hand, and declares that his arrival was a total miracle, and she wants to dedicate her life to him. Suyoshi looks away, but his nose is bleeding even harder than Sanji. He agrees to let her use the title, and she turns to lead the way. She warns him to watch his step as the darkness settles around them. Basking in the warm feeling, he briefly forgets his actual mission and softly whispers how amazing this world is, but then he snaps out of his delusions and remembers that Karina is still waiting for him. Suddenly, a screen pops up, notifying him that the boundless passage is finally active. This reminds him that he was dragged here, so he plans to use it to return home the exact same way. Despite just drooling over a girl, he simply commands the system to open the portal, getting pulled straight inside. Leaving Pookie behind, he lands right back in his own world and finds himself in the exact same spot where his journey started. Opening his system, he gets super hyped when he sees all his newly gained skills are still there. Although the hammer is now tucked safely inside an inventory slot, his system explains that stats are shared across both worlds but raw items are not. To use them in either world, they must be stored in the divine consciousness inventory beforehand. He figures this is not a big deal since his levels are shared, meaning he only brought the hammer back because it was stored there. He basically hit a massive jackpot while being a total dummy about everything. Seriously, when is our turn to get a massive jackpot like that? His seniors suddenly peer down from the surface, asking about the racket and telling him to hurry before the gates shut. Tsuyoshi is confused why these old guys are still here when he was gone for 5 hours. The old man explains he was here the entire time and only came down to pick him up, so Tsuyoshi climbs out, fully convinced that time completely froze while he was in that alternate world. This feels like a manga page and he knows it. He wonders if time is frozen in that other world, and who originally wore this boundless ring on their finger. Breaking through to the surface, he suddenly remembers that tomorrow is the big day. The awakening test is tomorrow and he is excited, but a dark memory surfaces. He is drenched in blood, stumbling through the pouring rain while holding his little sister close. Karina lies shivering in his arms. It feels like the entire world is ending around them. Crowds scream and flee in absolute terror. A massive beast of pure darkness is hunting nearby. Weakly, Karina whispers she cannot feel her legs. Suyoshi can barely keep standing. He drags his feet toward their home, only to watch his entire world suddenly shatter. That horrific shadow monster crashes right through their house, with his parents still trapped inside. Honestly, this nightmare feels painfully familiar. Tears streaming down his face, he screams. He tries to lunge forward, desperately trying to save them, but a heavy hand grabs him. Uncle Nakazato suddenly jumps in and tightly holds him back, his face completely pale with a look of pure dread. He warns that running in there will only get both him and Karina killed instantly. As the massive beast tears their house apart, Nakazato screams to turn back. He must get Karina to a hospital right now. Snapping back to the present, Suyoshi sits by Karina's hospital bed. She asks if he is really taking the test. He literally just finished a grueling work shift, and she is clearly worried about him. The nurse steps in, smiling but gently insisting she needs rest. She quietly prepares a medical injection before walking over to calmly administer the pain medication. Suyoshi tries to calm her, asking softly if her legs still hurt. She trembles slightly, admitting that although she cannot move them, the pain never stopped. But she has learned to live with it. He stares down with a breaking heart. He looks at her with a heavy, breaking heart and triggers his divine eye skill. The diagnostic scan confirms both her legs were completely crushed under rubble. 98% of her nerve cells are dead, leaving zero chance of recovery. Leaving only a tiny, near impossible 1% chance she will ever walk again without support. Walking home, his thoughts are entirely consumed by his sweet sister. She should be living a normal teenage life, making friends and chasing her own hopes. Instead, she is trapped in a bed, struggling just to survive. Karina is his last remaining family, and he swears he will make her walk. No matter how impossible it seems, Even that slim 1% chance is absolutely worth fighting for. He will drag her life out of rock bottom and give her a real future. If he can successfully become a licensed hero, he will gain access to classified medical files. That is how he will find a real cure. He wants more, though. He wants to stand proudly as the strongest hero in the world. Soon, he arrives at the brave test group for his assessment. Some arrogant, bespectacled examiner struts around the room like he owns the absolute place. Another candidate steps up to the platform to measure his physical stats. His results flash level 3, showing an impressive combat power of 540. With a fake corporate smile, the supervisor warmly congratulates the new recruit. He hands over a customized emblem based on his stats. But when Suyoshi steps forward, the supervisor's expression instantly sours in pure disgust. His friendly attitude completely vanishes, replaced by an annoyed, dismissive tone toward Suyoshi. He coldly orders him to step inside and place his hand on the scanner. Testing device, the supervisor is convinced that nothing is going to change. It will be just like last time. Since Suyoshi failed once, he will fail again. That is his logic. After all, this machine measures scientifically from every single angle, so he trusts it, but Suyoshi completely ignores his endless rambling and walks forward. The last guy became a hero at level 3. And since he has the exact same level, he should easily qualify too. He only wonders about his actual power, placing his hand on the panel. Ultimate physique activated. Instantly, his veins bulge like they are about to burst. Talk about a crazy gym flex. Right away, the machine starts violently shaking. His massive surge registers an unbelievable combat power of 5,400. The panel blares, announcing that the 30-year-old level 3 hero record is completely shattered. He is officially ranked number 1. While second place sits at only 930, Suyoshi gets insanely hyped. He did not just get a sturdy body, he got crazy. Power 10 times higher than the last guy. Now he gets highly curious. He wants to test his divine hammer, so he summons the weapon. A warning notification pops up, stating its true potential cannot be unleashed. His current level and conditions are just too low, forcing it open. Will drain massive power, keeping the release active for only 1 second. Even so, he still risks it and unleashes the true power of the hammer. The weapon instantly begins drawing energy from his body while electricity crackles. Thick lightning bolts strike down from the sky, slamming into the building. The entire room shakes violently. The testing device cannot handle this output. It overloads and burns out, plunging the entire facility into a blackout. The supervisor rushes inside, prepared for a major blackout emergency. Instead of the buff candidate, he finds a shriveled human mummy standing there. Either way, Tsuyoshi eventually leaves the room looking absolutely drained. Looking like a piece of dry seaweed, he never expected this. His entire strength literally vanished in only 1 second, so he decides to avoid using the hammer until he gains actual power. Still, he is so happy about becoming a hero that his face twists up strangely. He looks exactly like a creepy villain. Soon, at the training grounds, a veteran hero named Jia introduces himself as their official instructor. He warns them his lessons are tough, so they better keep up. Meanwhile, Tsuyoshi stands with the rookies and checks his stats, seeing Jia as a warrior. At level 9 with a power of 1200, instantly turning smug. He wonders how insanely overpowered he will be once he reaches level 9. Jia has a pretty rough face, and his personality is rotten too. He is clearly annoyed about babysitting rookies when he could be exploring some high-level dungeon instead. He abruptly announces they are heading out into a D-rank dungeon tomorrow to get some real field experience. This will help them decide their class, plus there is loot. The rookies instantly panic when they hear they are diving straight in. Shaking, they beg to do physical training first, or at the very least, let them choose their actual occupations. Right before entering, their brutal instructor tosses their suggestions aside. He snaps that there is no time for nonsense because true warriors train in real battle. They need to sharpen their skills. He gives them a blunt warning. His lessons are going to be brutal, and anyone who struggles should just quit. Left with no choice, the students reluctantly agree to follow his ridiculous lessons. Tsuyoshi gets it. The instructor is merely venting his own anger. After all, even an elite hero is still just a flawed human being. But Tsuyoshi is far worse. grinning like a creep about the beautiful girl waiting for him. He is desperate to cross back over the second his cooldown ends. Back in his room, he gets completely hyped to return, and honestly, who wouldn't be? Over there, he can level up, pick a class, and grind. He can farm top-tier gear. Now that the portal cooldown is finally finished, he activates it. The vortex sucks him right back in. He opens his eyes and blinks. This fantasy scenery remains completely unchanged, and his outfit has reverted to starter gear. Then he remembers. A very curvaceous surprise is already waiting for him here. It is the lovely demi-human girl. She looks up and asks if he is okay. Suyoshi immediately averts his shameless gaze, fighting a massive wave of temptation. Quickly insisting that everything is perfectly fine, he scrambles to change the subject. He urges her to lead the way so they can start hunting immediately. Right ahead of them sits a level 3 monster nest, as she softly explains. Those goblins are incredibly sneaky, viciously lustful, and attack in massive hordes. Suyoshi thinks to himself that she is the one who needs to watch out around them. Honestly, she is just way too innocent for a brutal world like this. It is almost worrying. Still, he is thrilled. Goblins sound like classic fantasy monsters to him. He cannot wait to test out his divine selection system on them. As they approach the canyon, the demi-human girl whispers a warning to tread lightly. They must avoid alerting the sentries. He quickly pulls up her status screen. Her power is 630,000, matching her high level of 72. He remarks that someone of her tier could easily steamroll this entire valley. She asks in total shock how he knows her stats, but he playfully shrugs it off. He changes the subject, asking if she can demonstrate how high-level experts actually fight. She hesitantly explains that if she fights, the massive level gap ruins his experience gain. He will barely gain any experience points because the level gap is just too massive. Suyoshi pouts in disappointment. He really wanted to watch her fight. She blushes at his words. Underneath that warrior exterior, she is still an easily flustered girl. Seeing his sad face is too much. She steels herself and draws her sword. She bolts forward like a flash of lightning, slicing clean through the enemy ranks. It is like watching Urza Scarlet in her prime. Suyoshi is absolutely mesmerized. Watching a high-level hero fight feels like seeing a real superhero come to life. He showers her with praise, making her admit she always gives her absolute best. Even against weaklings, she hopes her demonstration helps him understand real combat. He eagerly asks to learn that move, but she explains it is a high-level technique. That instant slash skill is restricted, and she reminds him he still lacks a class. Flashing a confident, silly grin, he assures her that he will become a warrior. As long as she promises to stay right by his side, he can do anything. Side, making it incredibly easy to replicate her skills without worrying about class compatibility. He still needs a replacement weapon since that divine hammer is completely unusable. Right then, a glowing system notification pops up directly in front of his face. It informs him that his class has successfully been switched over to a warrior. Blushing red, the innocent girl grabs his hand, promising she will be useful. She vows to help him level up, touched that he chose this warrior class for her. First, they need a proper warrior weapon. Is she teasing him on purpose, or is she just completely innocent? While she is busy mapping out plans for his future leveling, our main character is totally distracted, staring straight at some fluffy sights instead of listening. Suddenly, a group of goblins approaches to change shifts, making a ton of noise. They instantly spot the intruders and start shouting. Suyoshi decides to take them on. He wants to handle this himself, borrowing a simple dagger from his partner. She warns him that fighting same-level monsters is incredibly dangerous, but he ignores her. Instead, he wants to test his new skill, Heaven Shaker, on these guinea pig goblins. Taking a deep breath, he charges forward and lands a devastating strike. His partner is completely shocked. Usually, even a party of 6 would struggle against them. Feeling confident, he believes he can wipe out the remaining monsters. He wants to hit level 4 by tonight, all thanks to his divine selection system. Spotting a worn-out wooden stick dropped by a fallen goblin, he picks it up. Instantly, the system registers this cheap piece of wood as his active weapon. The girl insists they find proper gear quickly, since his current defense is basically 0. Yoshi agrees that he is still way too fragile to survive out here. He definitely needs a decent weapon and some real defensive armor as well. After looking into his divine inventory, he learns how this pocket space actually works. It exists solely in his consciousness, meaning he can access it in both worlds. Opening his status menu, he notices he only has 2 storage slots available. Unfortunately, one slot is already blocked by that heavy divine hammer. That leaves him with only one free slot. Luckily, the system explains how to expand it. As he levels up and gets stronger, his inventory space will naturally expand. But how is he supposed to manage with so few slots right now? He cannot even get rid of that useless hammer. Standard armor sets require 5 main pieces. He turns his head and starts staring intensely at his cute companion. Naturally, his thoughts immediately take a sharp turn straight into the gutter. He silently admits that bestiared girls are completely irresistible to him. Now he is highly curious about what other fantasy races live in this world. Sensing his intense gaze, the poor girl asks if she has something on her face. He quickly makes an excuse, claiming he was just making sure she was keeping up. While he is completely spaced out in his daydreams, she spots more monsters approaching. Honestly, they probably should have given his distracted head a good smack. Instead, she leaps forward to shield her master from the sudden ambush. She warns him that the goblins grow stronger the deeper they venture into the dungeon. To Yoshi, that just means more experience points. He tells her to stay back. He wants to farm all the experience points alone, swinging his cheap wooden stick. The goblin falls easily, but his fragile weapon cannot withstand the heavy impact. It snaps instantly. Still, a nice chunk of experience points rolls right in. His growth is constant. Sakura watches him in total awe, tracking his potential. The raw, explosive energy he channels through a simple wooden stick is mind-blowing. Defeating 3 deadly enemies in one swift motion is almost impossible to believe. As they venture deeper, Suyoshi slices through high-level goblins like hot knives through butter. The girl cheers him on, but seriously, every cheap wooden weapon he grabs quickly snaps. He never anticipated the experience points in this world would be so generous. Power floods his body, making him level up far quicker than he ever dreamed. Back when he worked as a simple cleaner, the pro heroes always complained. Killing level 3 and level 4 monsters barely yielded 10 meager experience points. Without endless, exhausting dungeon runs, rising in rank was a fantasy. On Earth, the Hero Alliance forced hunters to form large raid parties. They split the rewards equally, but here things are entirely different. Suyoshi gets to claim every single point of experience for himself. Better yet, the local monsters here offer a remarkably high payout with every kill. He expects to easily reach the boss, but when it appears, he ducks away. Hiding behind a rock wall, cold sweat pours down his trembling face. A heavy, malicious pressure fills the air from a beast that barely looks goblin. Sakura warns him their luck has run dry, recognizing the shadow of corruption. This boss is possessed by pure darkness, sending a chill straight through Suyoshi. He simply cannot believe this same corrupting force exists inside this fantasy world. His mind races, wondering if this matches the evil lurking in Earth's deep rifts. This monster bears the exact same horrific stench as the tragedy that destroyed his family. Sakura explains this boss should only be level 6, but the infection multiplies its strength. Its raw combat power has spiked catastrophically, far beyond its normal baseline. These corrupted beasts are total mysteries, making them incredibly dangerous. She tells him to fall back while she handles the beast alone. But rage blinds Suyoshi as he charges forward, refusing to step down. He has to kill this thing himself, no matter how high the cost. Whether these worlds are linked or not, he makes a solemn vow. He will tear down any darkness that threatens his beloved sister, Karina. He unleashes Heaven's Shaker, but the boss simply swats him away like a fly. A long, slick, completely disgusting tongue instantly shoots out to finish him off. But Sakura leaps in, her heavy blade blocking the incoming blow. Suyoshi drags himself back up, instantly activating his ultimate physique. His body swells into a massive, muscular frame wreathed in power. He gathers every single ounce of his strength directly into his dominant arm. Charging forward, he slams the beast with a colossal, absolutely devastating strike. The boss is utterly obliterated in a single flash, crumbling to dust. His level rises to 4. He silently vows to hunt down every last trace of darkness. Suddenly, a system screen warns that his right hand is severely damaged. Without immediate treatment, the flesh on his arm will completely die. His balance breaks and he collapses, but a warm savior catches him. Sakura cushions his fall, gently pulling his head onto her lap. She quickly retrieves a vial of healing medicine from her heavy pack. Though it takes an hour to work, the remedy slowly repairs his arm. He feels completely refreshed, bursting with energy once again. After all, he just got a healing session on some pretty thick thighs. The recovery speed felt a bit slow, but the results are insane. This world's medicine clearly has some wild ancient history. Tayoshi looks over his scrawny body and feels way stronger than he did before. Right on cue, his girl reminds him to go collect his dungeon clearing rewards. Honestly, he almost forgot about them. Just then, a system notification pops up right in front of him, confirming that all the loot has been added to his inventory. Turns out, he also set a brand new speedrun record for clearing this place. Thanks to that speed, his reward tier gets a massive upgrade. They walk over to the chests, and his girl gets incredibly hyped when she sees they scored both a standard treasure box and a rare dark treasure chest. Dark element gear is incredibly rare, usually only found at high-end auctions. Tayoshi literally kisses the chest since it is the prize of his hard work. He pops the lid open and discovers he just pulled a legendary dark goblin set. Confused, he slams the chest shut and looks back at the floating system screen. The screen asks if he wants to claim and save the outfit in his inventory. Wondering if the whole suit counts as one item, he taps yes to store it. Luckily, it only takes up a single slot, ready to be summoned whenever he wants. A creepy grin spreads across his face, which his girl notices immediately. She asks what that shady face is for, but he claims he is just checking the rewards. Then he asks if she knows how to sew. She explains she has been making her own clothes since she was a little kid, and she always keeps a sewing kit handy. The two of them sit under the bright moonlight, enjoying a gentle, cool breeze. A cozy moment that could easily turn romantic. She sews him a brand new black shirt. He excitedly throws it on, now that he is stronger and got some fresh gear. He decides it is time to head back to his own world. First, he explores the town to find a safe lodging for her, waiting until she falls asleep to sneak out. Surprisingly, he does not take advantage of the situation to make a move. Finally back in his own world, he collapses onto his comfortable bed to rest. His body is completely drained, despite resting on those soft thighs earlier. The next morning, he equips the goblin armor, and honestly, the suit looks incredibly cool. Even better, it comes with a built-in active skill called Roaring Tentacles. Once activated, a single scream paralyses any nearby low-level monsters. At the same time, his hand transforms into a massive, deadly tentacle. But he starts to worry. Walking around public areas in this gear might cause serious trouble. If other heroes spot him wearing this monstrous outfit, things could get ugly fast. He has heard plenty of dark rumors about heroes murdering each other for high-tier loot. Walking around in this gear would basically put a giant target on his back. Luckily, another system alert pops up, revealing a hidden passive effect. It allows him to conceal the armor, making it look like completely normal civilian clothes. Talk about perfect timing. He accepts and the heavy gear completely vanishes from sight. He heads out to grab some breakfast before his scheduled meeting, but then his phone starts ringing. It is the head nurse calling from the hospital where Karina is currently staying. She sounds panicked, quickly warning him that some sketchy, dangerous-looking thugs have just broken into the building, demanding to take her away. They are taking Karina away, saying she owes them money, making Suyoshi open his eyes in shock. He had no choice but to take a loan to get her admitted into the hospital, and he has been paying them back exactly as agreed. He cannot understand why they are suddenly going after his sister now. The nurse adds that they even took Karina's phone, telling him to just hurry over. Suyoshi crushes the phone in his hand as his eyes bulge with absolute rage before storming out. Meanwhile, some shady thugs crowd around a defenseless little girl, forcing themselves into her space while she begs them to wait for her brother and asks what they want. A horrible thug pulls out some paperwork claiming he has every right to take her away. He says her brother borrowed cash and failed to pay it back on the agreed date, so he is simply taking her as per the contract. In his head, he knows the only reason he lent Suyoshi money was because his young boss liked the girl, and a pretty girl like her would sell for a lot of cash. On Top of that, her inability to walk is the cherry on top for those wealthy freaks who have sick tastes. He slipped dirty tricks into the contract that the clueless Suyoshi never noticed. Now he wants full advantage of the situation. Karina talks back, saying her brother would never agree to this because they clearly cheated him. The disgusting man argues that her brother's weekly payments barely cover the interest. So, when will he ever pay off the actual debt? He threatens that if she goes quietly, they will go easy on her, but if she fights back, he will do something every girl fears. Right then, Suyoshi smashes through the wall instead of using the door, standing ready to beat that scum into the floor. The ugly leader stays surprisingly calm and asks why Suyoshi is so angry, especially since he does not even care about his crippled sister anyway. Suyoshi cannot stand this guy for another second. He strengthens his legs and lunges forward, throwing a massive punch right into that flat, ugly face, breaking his teeth and sending him spinning across the room. Then a bald bodyguard charges forward to teach him a lesson. Instead, he learns not to mess with Suyoshi when the hero counters, grabbing his arm and twisting the limb until the bone fractures. The ugly leader flies into a rage, shouting that nobody defies him and his crew, the blue snake. He pulls a gun and fires, but Suyoshi easily dodges and catches the gun bare-handed. Shocking everyone in the room, Suyoshi calmly announces he is a hero now, stepping forward as the thugs shrink back like terrified kittens before a beast. Outside, the head nurse alerts the security guards, telling them that loan sharks are threatening a patient, but when those guards finally rush in, they find the thugs already beaten half to death. The bruised leader quickly changes his tune, politely telling Suyoshi to pay them back in one lump sum very soon. He warns that if he delays, the young boss of Blue Snake, who is also a powerful hero, will step in. With that, he scampers away with his limping goons. On the way out, he plans to warn his boss that the brother has awakened as a hero, meaning their plan to kidnap Karina will fail. Still, he is confident they can crush Suyoshi later since he looks like a complete rookie, and their boss is a level 100 veteran. Suyoshi sits with Karina, apologizing for not visiting her as much lately. He admits that if they do not pay soon, the blue snakes will return. But he assures her he is a hero now, so he will find a way. Karina stares at him in absolute shock, asking if he is really a hero. He nods, explaining he is just an intern who will officially debut today. To pay for her treatment, he borrowed $60,000 from the gang. Even with hero status, paying back $60,000 will take forever. So his only real option is to sell off his valuable hero gear. Luckily, the cooldown on his Boundless Passage skill ends tonight. By then, he will be official. Later, the trainees gather outside the dungeon. Gaia tells them that their skills will be tested here today. He explains there are rules, and one of them is pretty crazy. Every piece of hero gear they find inside must be handed directly to him. Suyoshi knows this is a scam, but the union ignores it. He does not care because this low-level cave won't have much anyway. Gaia promises they will all pass as long as they obey. Follow his lead, and becoming a real hero is basically guaranteed. But there is a catch. He demands a token of gratitude. Specifically, they must pay him 20,000 yen once they succeed. The students agree with disappointed faces, but our boy raises his hand. He asks why they have to pay when Gaia takes their loot. It is insane. The trainees will be left with absolutely nothing. A nervous nerd whispers to keep quiet and not cross Gaia. It turns out Gaia belongs to a powerful guild called Crazy Wolf. Suyoshi realizes the guy has massive guild backing, which explains his crazy shamelessness. But he refuses to let the strong just stomp on the weak. Annoyed, Gaia says those are the rules. If you're broke, leave. He tells him to take the solo test, and others whisper. They say they have never heard of any intern passing the solo test. But get this, Suyoshi is not just some average intern. He is the main character, the rest are just side cast. He confidently steps up and declares he will take the solo test. Soon, he is standing before the very same supervisor from earlier. The supervisor cannot believe his eyes and warns him about the danger. No one survives this. It is basically a suicide run. Even if this Class C cave is officially just an exam site. Our boy is not scared at all, simply bowing and thanking him. He gets ready to go, leaving the supervisor to check the data. The screen recommends a party of 5 or more heroes. Yet he steps in, standing completely alone in the dark. Standing at the entrance, he looks at the dark cave ahead. This is what a real dungeon looks like before it gets cleared. Suddenly, a creepy goblin leaps out, trying to smack him with a club. Nothing happens to him, the stick instantly shatters against his skin. He stands there completely unfazed, slowly turning around to face it. Power channels straight into one arm, slamming the goblin with a devastating punch. He casually points out that while the goblin had strength, it was nothing to him. Just complete dust compared to his true fighting power. He already knew the truth. This world's monsters do not even give half the experience of the other world. That is why heroes here level up so painfully slow, but then he senses more. Hiding in the shadows, he calls them out and they rush him all at once. Pulling out his goblin gear, he activates roaring tentacles, freezing them with a terrifying shriek. Then he crushes them with his monstrous arm. Outside, the instructor waits. He looks at his watch and realizes almost half an hour has already passed. If Suyoshi has survived this long by himself, he has done more than enough. No sane person would take a solo test. The union was already planning to scrap it. The instructor assumes he will be writing the kid's obituary next. But to his complete shock, the system flashes a sudden notification. Suyoshi has actually passed. The young man walks calmly right out of the cave. Treating it like a basic morning workout, he asks where he can wash up. Meanwhile, on the other side, the remaining students and their beloved scammer Gaia finish up. They manage to clear the dungeon, but Gaia is as arrogant as ever, bragging that without his help, they would have been dead a long time ago. He tells them they became heroes without having to do any real work. For that, 20,000 is dirt cheap, though some guys look incredibly stressed about paying. They complain, but Gaia quickly shuts them down. At their level, 40,000 is the standard, and this is a massive discount. He claims it is out of pure kindness, then his phone starts buzzing. The exam center delivers some wild news. The rookie he mocked actually passed. He passed the solo test. Honestly, the absolute shock on Gaia's face is priceless. It is funny enough to scare away crows and thieves at the exact same time. He storms straight over to Suyoshi, demanding to know how the hell he did it. Angry demands fly, asking if he used some high-grade cheat equipment. After all, Suyoshi is only level 4 and nobody has ever cleared this test. Suyoshi just calmly washes his face at the sink, not even looking back. He tells him that just because others failed does not make it impossible. Then he throws a sharp jab. Maybe desperate people find a way. Especially when they are almost forced to pay 20,000 for absolutely nothing. That massive roast hits Gaia straight in his fragile ego, completely infuriating him. He grabs Suyoshi by the collar, warning him to answer properly before he regrets it. Lazy Wolf Guild is mentioned, but Suyoshi just laughs and keeps roasting, pointing out that since Gaia is stuck at level 9 with 1200 power, that lazy guild of his really does not look impressive at all. Unable to take the disrespect, Gaia swings a massive, charged fist at him. But Suyoshi casually catches it, asking if he plans to kill him with that. A level 9 punch is nothing. Gaia pulls his arm back in pure shock. He cannot believe this rookie is only level 4, but he remains persistent. Pulling out a hidden dagger, he lunges forward to stab him in an instant. He demands answers, but the blade instantly snaps the moment it hits Suyoshi. This broken weapon instantly sends Gaia's suspicion shooting right through the roof. Suyoshi is wearing some top-tier gear, but he knows he just made a major slip. Exposing high-grade equipment by accident is going to bring nothing but trouble. People will definitely start sniffing around his secrets. Right on cue, Gaia steps up. With a creepy look, Gaia demands to know if Suyoshi found that gear or stole it. Suyoshi immediately drops the tough guy act and switches over to play innocent. He claims he was terrified, acting like a sharper blade would have killed him. Right on cue, his instructor shows up and saves the day. He drags Suyoshi off for identity verification, the final step to graduation. Graduating from hero engineering is close, and plot armor saves him once more. Even though his combat power is insane for a level 4, fights are tough. Dealing with actual powerhouses is a headache. Gaia just watches him walk away. His expression is so creepy he looks like a skeleton from a nightmare. Back in his apartment, Suyoshi finds himself missing his bee-steered companion. It is not just for wild thoughts, he really needs her to level up. Without her, grinding is too slow. He decides to keep a low profile. Unfortunately, our hero is already too late to hide from his enemies. The Lazy Wolf Guild is already waiting right outside his front door. They plan to break in, freeze him with magic, and drag him off. Gaia is ready with his dagger, already dreaming of some massive payday. The greedy bastard is desperate to steal whatever treasure Suyoshi has hidden. A robed mage tells Gaia to shut up and uses fire magic on the door lock. The chains melt away, but these guys have no idea who they are dealing with. Suyoshi literally blows his own door apart from the inside and steps out. Absolutely furious, he hurls his divine hammer straight at the robed mage. He triggers Heavenbreaker and quickly scans his target's stats. The mage is level 10, boasting a combat power of 3500. That is a massive level gap. Suyoshi has 6400 combat power. But numbers are tricky when he is still stuck at level 4. It is like a classic role-playing game where level difference decides the winner. One wrong move and a low-level warrior gets completely vaporized. Suyoshi wonders if he should just make a run for it using his speed. If his escape plan fails, it is game over. Meanwhile, the robed mage reveals himself. The guy is a bald, angry villain, and he unleashes a massive magical blast. The strike hits hard because Sayoshi's gear only blocks physical attacks. He has zero protection against magic, and he is in deep trouble. Suyoshi retreats instantly, knowing a direct clash right now means death. He breaks right through the glass window, jumping into the open air. He channels his body enhancement to his legs to survive the heavy drop. But the guild is already waiting for him below. They are one step ahead. A level 12 warrior leaps up and drives a brutal knee into his ribs. A heavy punch follows, sending Suyoshi crashing straight back down. Fortunately, he manages to reinforce his body before slamming into the dirt. He took the knee strike unprotected, but his goblin armor absorbs some force. His gear barely saves him. The level 12 warrior walks over, completely shocked. He is stunned that Suyoshi is still breathing after that devastating combo. He steps down, demanding to know what kind of secret technique was used in that attack. After all, a mere rookie shouldn't have that kind of power. Suyoshi reads the room instantly. One look at their eyes tells him they want blood, so he braces himself, flashing his gear. He unleashes his goblin set, preparing to activate his signature tentacle skill, but his luck is trash. The skill completely fizzles out. A sharp warning system screen pops up. Turns out, this ability only works on targets with a lower level than him. Seeing the bizarre attempt, all three enemies charge. They realize his gear must be incredibly rare. Anyone this week carrying epic loot is a walking goldmine, and their plan is incredibly simple. Just slaughter him and split the treasure, but right then a system alert saves him. The boundless passage cooldown is finally over. A sudden spark of hope flashes. He rapidly tears open the portal, shouting that he'll be back once he grows stronger. Next time, the real fight begins. With that, he dives straight through the gateway. Back in his own world, harsh reality hits him. He got way too cocky. Fancy armor is completely useless if you don't have the actual combat skills to match. He spins around to ask the girl for advice, only to find her fast asleep. Seeing her peaceful face nearly gives him a massive nosebleed right then and there. The scent of cherry blossoms drifts over. Her stunning figure is an absolute distraction. He forces his wild thoughts to stop, reminding himself he barely survived that ordeal. He has to stay sharp, map out his level ups, and obtain some powerful new skills. By morning, she wakes up fully refreshed, yawning that she finally got some good rest. Meanwhile, our stressed-out main character is slumped over, looking like a total zombie. He didn't get a single second of sleep because his mind was racing all night. He asks if she can quickly sew him a replacement shirt so they can start working. Once they head out, she explains that he needs a special skill scroll first. To learn those abilities, his best bet is to enroll at the local combat academy. They arrive at the massive gates, but the security guard instantly recognizes him. He's the weak human who somehow caught the attention of the Beast King. The guard bluntly states the rules. He needs to reach level 6 first. Only then can he take the entrance exam. Since he's barely level 4, he's out. Suyoshi sighs at the annoying barrier, completely unaware of the cute heart stitched on his shirt. The little detail practically screams that the maiden is totally into him. Honestly, can these two just get married already? The tension is real. Anyway, she apologizes, feeling bad for not researching the entrance requirements. She spent so much time training in secluded caves that she had no clue. Suyoshi doesn't blame her, smiling and saying he needed to grind levels anyway. Hearing this, she recommends a quiet, low-level cave perfect for safe farming. But as they turn to go, the arrogant beast guard begins talking trash. He sneers that the beastmen will never accept a weak human like him. Without the Beast King's protection, he'd already be chopped into pieces. He claims Suyoshi will fail the exam anyway, mocking his pathetic strength. He calls him trash. Hearing this, the maiden starts blaming herself completely. She feels like she overstepped, bringing him here only to be humiliated. She makes up her mind to explain the truth and leave his side forever. But she's already far too important to him. Pure rage takes over. He grabs the giant guard by the collar, demanding a full apology right now. The guard flat out refuses and doubles down, calling her a worthless hybrid between human and beast. He calls her a complete disgrace to all beastmen, pointing out she doesn't even have a real name. Right then, a system notification pops up on Sayoshi's screen, explaining how half-beasts are treated. They are utterly despised everywhere, regardless of how high their tier or level might be. Suyoshi finally understands why her name never showed up on the status screen when he used his divine eye on her. Suddenly, several other beastmen scale the library rooftop, carrying bows in their hands. The guard sneers, giving Suyoshi a pretty harsh reality check right then and there. He warns him not to get arrogant just because the Beast King took a liking to him. Disrespecting their kind means immediate punishment, no exceptions. Still, the guard makes a deal. He will apologize to the mutt only if Suyoshi manages to pass the upcoming exam. Though honestly, the guard is totally convinced the kid will fail miserably. The poor girl quietly begs Suyoshi not to get involved any further on her behalf. But he ignores her, naming her Sakura, and tells the guard to remember his promise. With that settled, they turn around and leave the library together. She honestly hasn't done anything crazy yet, so giving her such a legendary name feels kind of massive, right? Soon they head toward a massive waterfall. This is where the fox beastmen live, and Suyoshi plans to hunt them to level up. Still in a daze, Sakura softly asks why he chose that specific name for her. He asks if she hates it, admitting he kind of just came up with it on a whim. She clearly loves it, but she still wants to understand why he picked it for her. Blushing red, the awkward guy openly admits he's been noticing her sweet scent. He explains she always smells faintly of cherry blossoms, making the name a perfect match. Honestly, with both of them blushing like this, it feels like a confession scene. Overjoyed, she suddenly hugs him from behind, thanking him deeply for his gift. He mumbles a quick "you're welcome," trying to act cool while his heart is pounding. Once they enter the cave, Suyoshi eagerly pulls out his brand new dagger. The one Sakura bought him isn't top tier, but it beats that trash goblin club. Right on cue, a pack of fox beastmen emerges from the shadows. The system warns him that these creatures are way smarter than typical monsters. Underestimating them is a one-way ticket to a very bad time. He tells Sakura to keep her distance and guide him like she always does. Suddenly, a party mode restriction pops up if their level gap exceeds 5. They won't earn a single item or drop of experience from these fights. Unfazed, Suyoshi charges forward to put his new weapon to the test. Sakura quickly warns him that foxes are fast, so he should avoid wild swings. He slashes, but the beast easily dodges at high speed, lunging right back at him. Suyoshi quickly channels his strength into key points of his arm and body. With one explosive burst, he completely shatters the beast's weapon. Seeing his insane raw power, the remaining foxes immediately back off, suddenly wary. Sakura notes that his combat strength is exactly what she expected from his weapon. These low-level monsters are simply no match for him as he keeps slashing. Within seconds, he clears them out, realizing that speed actually beats pure power. He estimates that 3 opponents in his original world would have a combat rating of 3,900, but their peak level is only 12. With that massive level gap, his stats are severely scaled down, leaving him at a major disadvantage. If skills are thrown into the mix, he will get absolutely crushed. He needs to master 4 new abilities. He grinds his level straight to 6. Only then will he force that smug beastman to kneel. Soon they find the boss. It is the giant fox chieftain, a noisy monster pacing around the cave. A massive blade rests on its shoulder. The duo hides and Suyoshi watches. He drools over that giant sword. It looks absolutely perfect for him. Sakura notices his greed and mentions that while boss weapons do drop, the odds are terrible. Everything depends on rarity. The only real way to get it is to keep killing the boss. She breaks down how the odds work, explaining the percentage chance of earning loot. The better the gear, the lower the odds of it actually hitting your inventory. Suyoshi treats this like a video game. It makes sense. He casts his divine eye to inspect it. The screen reveals it is level 7, with 1500 combat power and terrible drop rates. This black cold light sword has a measly 6% drop chance. Talk about a letdown. Grinding normally would take forever, even if the weapon seems completely tailored for his build. Right on cue, a system notification pops up, introducing the new trade exchange window. Trade for rare items by completing specific quests, with options scaling as he grows. It turns out this world still holds plenty of secrets. He quickly opens the current shop. He browses the screen to see what is up for grabs at his current level. Only one item is available, a high-probability scroll designed to boost drop rates. It adds a massive 30% boost, but he needs to fulfill a specific kill count. The requirement is 30 monster kills. Since his body count is already over 100, he qualifies. He qualifies easily. Stacking all 3 scrolls at once should break the system. The drop rate will skyrocket to 96%, virtually guaranteeing his shiny new weapon. He immediately cashes in his points for 3 scrolls. With his preparations complete, he asks Sakura to coach him through the upcoming battle. He steps out of the shadows. The giant beast spots him instantly and roars, charging forward. It swings its massive, glowing sword, releasing a freezing wave of energy across the floor. Sakura shouts warnings, telling him this boss is surprisingly quick and possesses raw physical power. Its blade carries the ice element. One hit will freeze his joints and drain his stamina. He cannot afford to take a direct blow. He must target its weak spots and end this. A prolonged fight is suicide. She quickly reminds him that canines have a natural vulnerability. These fox monsters hate fire. Coating his blade in flame oil is the way. At this point, he happily obeys her every single command. Dousing his steel in oil, he ignites it and charges forward with a blazing blade. He wonders which element will dominate, his hot flames or the beast's biting frost. Sakura directs him, yelling to aim directly for the creature's exposed armpits and thick neck. Although the fox looms as large as a legendary beast, its massive size makes it sluggish. Honestly, it is pretty brainless for a dungeon lord. Its heavy swings look like slow motion. Suyoshi slips past the guard and drives his burning sword deep into its exposed armpit. The beast screams, thrashing in absolute agony. A glowing system prompt suddenly flashes before him. Striking vital spots inflicts cowardice, dealing double the damage. The monster's morale and drive plummet, transforming a dangerous boss into an easy target. Now is his chance. He surges forward to press his advantage. Sakura urges him on, shouting that panicked enemies suffer from highly vulnerable physical spots. To dodge properly while looking for openings. As he gets closer, the beast thrashes around in pain. He barely pulls back in time thanks to her quick warning. Before long, the beast finally stops moving, so he gathers all his strength into his arms and aims for its neck. That strike deals triple damage, leaving. The beast gets debilitated. Sakura cheers him on but still warns him not to drop his guard just yet. She thinks to herself that it is technically a low-level fight, but training beside her master makes it strangely exciting. So Suyoshi finishes the job, smashing the fox's head. With Heaven Shaker to take the boss down, he then grabs his high probability scrolls, using them to push the drop rate all the way up to 96%. By actually using his brain, he grabs a massive chunk of experience points in the black cold light sword. Sakura gets thrilled. She sees the loot, saying nobody ever pulls that sword on there. First try, Suyoshi knows that even with ultimate physique, he can get hurt badly if he gets careless, but finding a weapon that truly suits him means he can unleash much stronger attacks. This cold sword looks incredibly powerful. Now watch, his confidence shoots right back through the roof. He starts thinking things will get wild if he challenges those guys. From Crazy Wolf with this weapon, he has not even reached level 5 yet but is already dreaming of hitting level 6 soon, for her and himself. Suyoshi asks Sakura if there is any other place to grind levels. Since he needs to power up as fast as possible, she tells him to use a reset scroll to shorten the respawn time for monsters in caves. Although its effect gets weaker in higher level or special areas, she explains that the Beastman Cave is a low-level dungeon, meaning monsters respawn quickly anyway. Even so, she suggests he takes a break first, saying she will hand him some healing potions in the meantime. After resting, they use the reset scroll to respawn the enemies, and Suyoshi walks back into the cave with his usual main character energy. He jumps into battle with the foxes, noticing how this new sword completely slows them down with its frost effect, which really impresses him. Sakura encourages him, explaining that weapons all have unique special effects, and she is sure he will find even better weapons down the road. He thinks about having both the divine hammer and this ice sword in his inventory, if he could use ultimate physique. Without that annoying 1 second limit, he would be completely untouchable. After wiping out the smaller foxes, hilariously, the cave boss appears and literally starts to tremble. When it sees this overpowered human returning, he defeats the boss and does not stop there. Since his grind mentality is fully on, he keeps resetting the dungeon, finally managing to reach level 6. From early morning till late night, he has restored his stamina 6 times and has probably gathered a full set of Fox Beastman gear. Back at the academy entrance, a guard and another Beastman gossip about Suyoshi, mocking the weak human who does not know his place trying to train in their holy land. They say there is no way he even reaches level 6, let alone actually takes the academy exam. But right then, Suyoshi rolls up in incredibly cool gear like a fashion show. Chayoshi proudly announces he has already reached level 6, ordering them to wake the examiner up immediately instead of waiting around until tomorrow morning. Plus, they need to prepare a massive apology to Sakura for their big mouths. The exam supervisor is dragged out of bed just as he is nodding off. He instantly warns Chayoshi that wasting his precious sleeping time will carry heavy consequences. Chayoshi stays completely unfazed, stating he meets the trial requirements and wants a skill. He demands access to the facility's skill vault, a place reserved for top warriors. Inside lie powerful skill scrolls, and anyone who passes gets to choose one technique. The supervisor is convinced Chayoshi is dreaming, but a guard whispers some shocking news. He reveals that Chayoshi reached level 6 in a single day, leaving him stunned. His eyes nearly pop out of his skull, but he quickly plays it cool. To him, a mere human passing their elite trial is nothing but a joke. Just then, the academy's commander steps in. If Chayoshi really hit level 6, let the trial begin. Since beastmen are built on raw strength, power is the ultimate deciding factor here. If Chayoshi somehow pulls this off, he gets access to the restricted skill vault. On paper, the test is simple. The target is right there on the platform. He just needs to shatter a massive stone slab with a single, direct punch. Chayoshi is honestly surprised that such a crucial exam is this incredibly straightforward. But the guard is sweating. He realizes the commander is setting up a trap. He is testing Chayoshi with the outer stone, which even level 10 warriors struggle to scratch. Usually, they use a standard stone block, but this commander is playing dirty. He wants to utterly humiliate the human, and this outer stone is no joke. It is a meteoric rock used by beastmen to test the limits of raw physical power. Some once feared it as a curse, but legends say ancient spirits forged it. To show him how it is done, the supervisor steps up first. He throws a heavy punch, but his massive arm only leaves a tiny crack. Yet that tiny mark is considered a top-tier achievement for most beastmen. The supervisor smirks, bragging that this is the absolute peak of beastman power. Chayoshi steps up, confident his ultimate physique will push him far beyond his level limits. Still, he decides to play it smart and focus his force perfectly. He carefully channels his energy, preparing to launch an absolute hammer of a punch. Chayoshi loads 50% of his ultimate physique power into his right hand and strikes. The punch hits home, completely obliterating the legendary meteoric stone into tiny fragments. The muscleheads who were laughing a second ago are frozen in complete disbelief. Even Chayoshi is surprised. He clearly underestimated his own newly awakened strength. He asks if he passed, but the sweating commander instantly panics and says no. Talk about a sore loser. He claims the stone broke because of his own earlier punch. He insists Chayoshi just rode his coattails. Chayoshi simply sighs at the blatant lie. He asks what kind of ridiculous test the commander wants to throw at him next. The desperate commander orders a complete do-over with an elite iron bar bending test. This challenge requires candidates to bend an insanely thick steel rod with pure muscle. The commander secretly gloats, knowing this solid steel usually demands explosive peak warrior power. Two massive beastmen step forward to show off, straining their giant arms. They barely manage to bend it. Then Suyoshi calmly steps up to the iron bar. Without even breaking a sweat, he casually twists the solid metal into a pretzel. Just bending it, the commander fails him again, claiming the bar was never meant for testing, so he switches to arm wrestling, calling it their main way of measuring strength. If Toyoshi lasts 10 seconds against their strongest warrior, he passes. But Toyoshi is about to completely shatter those expectations. He easily flips their strongest guy with one arm, sending a mental lightning bolt straight through the commander. Toyoshi looks back with absolute rage. In his eyes, pointing out he already cleared 3 trials. He passes now, right? The terrified warriors immediately cave in and admit he easily passed the trial. Toyoshi then brings Sakura forward, demanding that the guard apologize to her right now. The guard actually bends down and apologizes since true warriors never break their word. Sakura is beyond shocked. She always assumed this kind of harsh treatment was normal. But Toyoshi tells her she does not need to accept being treated like garbage. Since it is only right he apologizes, she should accept it with pride. She lifts her head and confidently accepts his apology like a true queen. As they walk toward the academy, the commander explains the rules to Toyoshi. He can take exactly 1 scroll per visit, with only 3 minutes inside. He must find a skill scroll he likes. Once he breaks the seal, it becomes his. If the timer runs out, he gets kicked out immediately and cannot return for quite a while. Toyoshi wonders why they need so many rules. The commander explains that this combat academy represents their entire region. That is why elite sorcerers and mages are invited to protect the vault. Every scroll is locked with a magic seal that cannot be broken easily. There is also a rule barrier that only a powerful mage can unlock. The spell strictly enforces these conditions, deciding who gets to enter the vault. It sounds way more complicated than Toyoshi ever expected. Sakura mentions that rules are even stricter in high-level academies. Suddenly, a massive gate creaks open right in front of them. The commander warns him one last time before Toyoshi finally steps inside. Looking around at the shelves loaded with skills, Toyoshi gets it now. He finally understands why they need heavy magic to protect this vault. With scrolls lined up like diamond jewelry, even he is tempted to rob the place. It is Sakura's first time inside, but she cannot see anything through the seals. She admits she just wants to smash the seals open with brute force. Toyoshi considers using his absolute duplication ability here. But it is hard to find a single truly good skill in this sea of scrolls. Besides, absolute duplication is pretty awkward to activate anyway. He has to touch the opponent's heart, and Sakura would never do that. She is way too timid, and just thinking about it makes him cringe. Shaking it off, he grabs a scroll and channels his strength into it. He squeezes hard until the seal finally breaks. The skill he gets is Shield Slam, and the system explains its utility. It lets him fiercely strike a target with a shield, dealing physical damage. It also has a decent chance of causing dizziness, but it is clearly designed for defense-oriented warriors. He complains that he does not even own a shield, while Sakura breaks hers. It is called Gale Step, allowing the user to dash and dodge. It even boosts attack speed, making it perfect for agile archers. Totally useless for Suyoshi. Meanwhile, Sakura finds another scroll. This one holds a skill called War Cry, built for commander-type warriors. But the clock is ticking, and they have to keep searching. After about 2 minutes of digging around, they find a skill called Counterattack. With this, he can strike back against physical strikes from his enemies. It even offers a decent chance to reflect negative status effects right back. Since it is designed for defensive warriors, Suyoshi keeps it as an option. He wants something better, so they immediately dive back into search. They search, but nothing fits. None of it is right for his build. Only 1 minute left. Things are desperate, and Suyoshi chooses violence. He quickly makes sure Sakura has enough stamina and health potions ready. Get back, he barks the order for her to find cover. She hides. Immediately, he channels massive energy into his hand. Pure electricity crackles violently, the whole building shakes. Outside, the beastmen panic. He prepares to break the seals. But a system warning pops up. He cannot control its full power. His level and stats are still too low to wield the weapon. Forcing the summon will drain massive energy and last for only 1 single second. He just smirks. 1 second is more than enough for his plan. Watch closely because he is turning this entire vault into a gacha machine. The commander is stunned. A human wielding this power is impossible. Sakura is frozen too. With insane force, Suyoshi strikes. The giant hammer slams down. Every seal in the vault shatters. With 50 seconds left, a tidal wave of information floods in. Massive amounts of data flow straight into his mind all at once. Sakura realizes that this sheer amount of knowledge could easily fry his brain. Terrified, all she can do is cheer. Suyoshi feels like his head is splitting. His skull is splitting, still he keeps scanning the options. He needs a match, something strong that fits him perfectly. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto a scroll crackling with pure, raw electricity. That is the one. He barks an order for Sakura to grab it. When she reaches it, she realizes it is only a fragmented scroll. These incomplete pieces require you to hunt down missing fragments to make them work. Because their power is severely weakened, almost nobody ever bothers learning them. She runs back to him, asking if he is absolutely sure about this choice. It is just a broken skill, but Suyoshi does not care at all. He scoops her up in his arms, ignoring how little she actually did. He powers up his legs, leaping straight out of the building, carrying her princess style. Outside, they wait. The beastmen expect him to fail miserably. They start the countdown, fully expecting him to leave empty-handed. Right on cue, the heavy main gates swing open and he steps out. He carries her like a prize, completely shattering their smug little fantasy. The commander is baffled that he unleashed such insane power just for that. It is a fragmented scroll containing a skill called Thunder Chain Fall. The technique lets the user summon a powerful electric current for lightning magic. They strike a target through a weapon, then call lightning from above. The bolt chains to the next target, leaving them paralyzed after taking damage. The skill levels up by collecting the remaining fragments, which sounds great at first. But the commander explains that according to his predecessors, no one has ever successfully mastered this fragmented skill for two brutal reasons. First of all, the entire scroll is split into 6 separate volumes, and only 3 have been found so far, making it basically impossible to find the rest. Second, every beastman who tried to learn the skill in the past died from the violent backlash whenever they attempted to level up their power. Their bodies literally exploded in gruesome ways because they could not handle it. Hearing this, Suyoshi gets pretty disappointed after going through all that trouble. Nobody wants to go through all that insane trouble just to end up exploding. But then an old beastman cuts in, mentioning a legendary figure known as the Divine King. He was the owner of the Divine Hammer, and this was his only legacy. Suyoshi does not take any of these grand tales seriously, of course. Instead, he acts like a total brat, casually picking his nose. He asks why a technique left by the Hammer King is dumped with the trash. The old man snaps, asking him if he thinks this is some kind of joke. He explains that no matter how strong a skill is, it is totally useless if nobody can master it. It is just like a divine hammer in the hands of someone who cannot swing it. He says that even though the technique came from the legendary Divine King himself, only a few people still believe it even exists in this world. Nobody has mastered it for 1,000 years, just like their lost glory. But none of this matters to Suyoshi, who happily gets ready to move on. He is ready to keep adventuring with Sakura, but the old man mutters something. He whispers that this fragment is just the beginning of a long journey. Whether Suyoshi masters it depends entirely on his own strength and luck. Suddenly, the old man stops Sakura and asks if she is the half-beast slated for execution. He wonders how she can just walk around freely like this with Suyoshi. He guesses that Suyoshi does not know her true identity, asking if she will sacrifice him. For the first time, her cute expression fades into a freezing cold stare. She coldly tells him it is none of his business before walking away. Later on, Suyoshi drinks a high-grade healing potion to restore his wounded arm. He still complains that even though it works, the taste is absolutely awful. Glancing over at Sakura, he notices she has been acting quite strange lately. He softly asks her if everything is really okay with her. She forces a fake smile, reassuring him that she is simply feeling a little tired. But Suyoshi is far too curious to drop it and bluntly asks about her scheduled execution. He remembers her standing right next to him in that grim execution line. This is the one question she never expected, leaving her completely speechless. She quickly tries to change the subject. You can practically feel the sudden tension. Instead, she asks if he has studied the remaining scroll fragments yet. Suyoshi tells her he has already memorized it, despite the old man's warnings. With all this wild gear, the skill seems absolutely perfect for him. He stays as cocky as ever. He figures Thunder Chain Fall requires a pretty tough body, which makes it more than suitable. After all, he believes his physique is completely unmatched. And he cannot wait to see what happens once he gathers the remaining scrolls. His companion stands up, suggesting they head out to level up on this beautiful day. She is right, but first, he has some extremely urgent business. Looking down, he spots the notification. His boundless passage cooldown is finally over. The moment he unlocked this power, he knew exactly how to handle those three idiots. Honestly, you know he is absolutely going to destroy them this time. Using the portal, he teleports right back to his original world where those garbage opponents are incredibly close to finishing off his double. Stepping through, he instantly summons his freezing flash sword, his ultimate trump card. Baldy stands completely stunned as Suyoshi pulls a weapon straight out of thin air. He starts wondering if this kid is hiding a rare dimensional ring. Gaia suspects something massive too. He can tell this sword is the real deal. Meanwhile, the third guy just wants to shove Suyoshi back and split the loot. All three surround him. Immediately, Suyoshi activates his brand new skill, Thunder Chain Fall. He unleashes a massive, crackling aura, swinging his sword in a wide arc. Jagged bolts of lightning rain down from above, slamming directly into the trio. Those clowns are paralyzed instantly. They cannot believe a kid is casting high-level magic. Meanwhile, Suyoshi stands tall in the smoke, looking ridiculously overpowered. Baldy realizes this is not the helpless punching bag they fought earlier. He deeply regrets underestimating him. He realizes it is better to run. The third guy raises his hand to surrender, but Suyoshi smacks him hard. Did you really think I would forgive people who literally just tried to kill me? Gaia still clings to his pride, trying to flex the crazy Wolf Guild name. Suyoshi does not care at all, he simply swings his blade. A clean, one-shot decapitation. Baldy realizes this monster is not showing any mercy. If he lets him get away now, he is absolutely dead meat. He scrambles to pull something from his pouch. Suyoshi rushes forward. Baldy manages to throw an adhesive blast fruit that sticks right to its target. Unluckily for him, the bomb latches directly onto Sayoshi's beloved sword. Then boom, standing in the smoke, Baldy smugly brags about his purchase, claiming they cost a fortune and could heavily damage a level 12 hero. Since Suyoshi is only level 10, his body should be torn to shreds. But when the smoke clears, Baldy's eyes nearly pop out of his skull. Suyoshi is still standing, completely protected by his dark goblin armor set and his activated peak physique, without giving them another second to breathe. Suyoshi charges, grinding their bodies to pieces and finishing them off right there. After the battle, his eyes land on the bag Baldy dropped. He loots it, discovering an absolute gem, a rare dimensional ring for personal storage. Its internal space actually scales up with his level. He gets incredibly hyped, slips it onto his finger, and immediately consults his system. The system explains he needs to channel mana to activate the storage space. And the exact same trick works whenever he wants to store items. Ordinary folks would never lay a finger on something this rare. On top of that, it is practically impossible to find on the open market. He decides to test it, focusing all his mana into the band, and to his utter shock, the relic actually responds to his touch. In moments, the dimensional artifact sparks to life, bonding completely with his personal energy. Soon after, the Hero Alliance security squad arrives. They are an elite unit composed entirely of professional heroes. Luckily, Suyoshi cleared every trace and scooped up the valuables. He grabbed everything he could and dipped before they showed up. Safe for now, he even managed to snatch Gaia's leftover smartphone, binding his own personal identity code to the device until it was fully his. This world is advanced in everything except basic digital security. Suddenly, the stolen phone begins to vibrate in his palm. He answers, only to hear Lily-sensei calling. Why is she contacting him now? When he already dropped out, he calmly asks what she wants. She gently points out that classes start soon, yet he is missing. She knows he dropped out to help pay Karina's medical debts, but she refuses to let him throw away his entire education. He quietly thanks her but admits there is more to it. The issue isn't just money, it is the brutal school bullying. Still, she genuinely believes a proper education is his only ticket to success. She promises to help him sort out the expensive tuition fees. He just needs to gather his courage and show up tomorrow. She insists that he cannot spend his whole life working as a cleaner. Suyoshi listens, realizing he never told her about his sudden rise to hero status. Lily is literally the single person in this world who actually cared about him. She vows to protect him and stay by his side through the struggles. Truly, she is that incredibly kind mentor every struggling student needs. Still, he silently wonders why her voice sounds close to breaking. Originally, Tsuyoshi felt his school held absolutely zero happy memories for him. But after speaking with her, everything shifts. He is different now. He is no longer that helpless victim, he is an actual hero. Every single bully will pay, he thanks his teacher sincerely. He promises to return tomorrow. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the ruthless leader of Crazy Wolf is absolutely livid at the thief, who wiped out his crew and took the precious dimensional ring he lent them. He remains confident because the ring has an active tracking spell. The boss is a level 21 warrior, fully locked onto Tsuyoshi. Snarling, he orders his elite thugs to hunt the boy down immediately. The next morning, Tsuyoshi returns to school to continue his classes. He brings Karina along, her legs supported by newly fitted medical braces. Hearing he was going back, she absolutely insisted on joining him. She hates being a burden. Navigating hallways in a wheelchair is tough. These high-tech mechanical braces he bought are a total lifesaver. She cannot stand properly, but she can clumsy walk with a cane. She grips her cane, tears of pure joy spilling over her face at the miracle. She saw those braces for the first time, a girl full of big hopes. The price was outright ridiculous. He barely managed to buy them with that cash. The loot from those three left him totally broke, but he knows he will earn more. He will definitely get many more chances as a real hero. Seeing her happy is the ultimate reward. Suyoshi reminds Karina to stay close. He promises to come back and guide her safely downstairs after class. Later, a black-haired bully asks her blonde friend who the girl with the cane is. Her friend explains that is Karina, who was once attacked by the darkness. She lost both her parents and her legs in an incident that made television. That tragedy was all over TV, even teachers talked about it. Mina, being her usual toxic self, spits out some incredibly nasty comments. She says it is better for poor slum people to just die instead of wasting resources. She has been deeply annoyed lately by Karina acting all kind and pure. Her blonde friend asks if she seriously plans on bullying a disabled girl. She warns her that if anyone finds out, things will end badly for them. Mina does not care at all, proudly claiming she has been targeting Karina for a while. Nobody ever dared to stand up for her, so nothing is changing. After that, she heads off to find her boyfriend, who is likely tired of her. She goes back to her boyfriend, who is probably already completely sick of her. Seriously, who wouldn't be? Meanwhile, Lily and Suyoshi stand in the office. The vice headmaster credits Miss Lily, saying he only let Suyoshi return because she asked. He then scolds Suyoshi for treating his academic studies so lightly. He adds that tuition is already paid, so Suyoshi must earn his remaining credits. This is his final chance to complete the coursework and actually graduate. Suyoshi puts on a humble face, hiding his usual cocky attitude. He quietly thanks them both, but the old man's head is filled with absolute trash. The moment they leave, the principal admits he does not care about the boy at all. Instead, he is completely obsessed with Miss Lily, eyeing her up with disgusting thoughts. He honestly believes she needs him, absolutely sickening. This creep seriously needs a reality check if he thinks he stands a chance. Outside, Lily tells Suyoshi not to worry, promising to cover his sister's fees too. She wants him to just focus on school. Suyoshi apologizes for causing so much trouble. He swears he will pay her back, but she quickly cuts him off with a smile. She tells him to prepare for exams since he is already in his third year. He looks much brighter lately, it makes her truly happy. He admits things are looking up and promises to live up to her expectations. He still keeps his hero identity a secret, especially with Crazy Wolf still out there. Crazy Wolf is still out there, staying low is best. Still, he wants to prove to her that he is no longer that weak loser. Back in class, a potato-faced bully stares him down with pure disgust. He mocks Suyoshi, saying he thought the guy got expelled but somehow crawled back. His friend asks if they should drag him to the bathroom after school. He agrees, complaining that his protection money dried up while Suyoshi was gone. The bully throws a crumpled paper ball straight at his back to mock him. He sneers, asking if Suyoshi expects sympathy just because his parents are gone. Because of his family situation, mocking that Suyoshi should be the one sympathizing with him for not having enough cash for karaoke, but Suyoshi casually snatches the crumpled paper ball midair like he has eyes in the back of his head. The bully turns around, telling him to meet in the restroom later, clicking his tongue in pure rage. The bully vows to make Suyoshi feel real pain this time. He takes over the bathroom like his personal throne room, saying he heard that Suyoshi became a garbage cleaner after school. Once again, he demands the protection fee, but Suyoshi keeps a calm face and straight up says no. That single word makes the bully's blood boil. They step in ready to beat him half to death, but watch this, he casually grabs their arms, shocking even himself. With how strong he has actually become in such a short time, he remembers how he used to be spineless and completely helpless, yet today everything feels totally different. He quietly activates his divine eye and sees they have no level, no skills, absolutely nothing. That surge of confidence makes him launch a powerful kick that sends them flying. The lead bully barely keeps his balance, utterly confused inside about how this supposedly useless pest suddenly became strong enough to look like a completely different person. Before things get worse, an accomplice bursts in and warns them that the boss is here, so they need to run. They grab their fallen buddies and rush out while the leader throws one last hateful glare at Suyoshi, making him think that a simple kick probably was not enough. Even so, he is glad he held back and did not use his peak physique, because going all out might have actually killed them. He can finally protect himself, but his thoughts quickly shift to his beloved sister, wondering how she is supposed to survive around monsters like these. Meanwhile, Karina struggles to write, quietly copying notes from a friend. That is when Mina and her sidekick swarm Karina like stray dogs smelling weakness. Karina's friend steps in, stating she is disabled now and this is no time to pick on her, but Mina does not care at all and coldly threatens her, warning she will smack her face next if she says another word. Sparing nobody, Mina sits down like some fake queen, complaining that she has no slaves to order around since Karina stopped moving properly, demanding to know how she will make up for it. Karina trembles in fear, whispering that she does not have any money. Mina looks her up and down and says if she has no cash, the gear she is wearing should be good enough to sell. Karina hesitantly refuses, saying her brother did his absolute best to buy those leg braces, making them incredibly precious. Mina instantly latches onto that, mockingly repeating that they are so important. And she cannot even walk without them, without breaking a sweat. Mina slaps Karina across her face, snapping that it does not matter if they are important or not. As the bullying continues, nobody in the class has the guts to step in and speak up. Luckily, the teacher walks into the classroom to start the lecture, which unintentionally saves Karina for now. It is already the sixth period, so as Mina heads back, she leans in and warns Karina not to run away after school because they will continue their little chat later. The teacher starts, but Karina is mentally somewhere else completely. She shakes her head, sinking deeper and deeper into her own thoughts. She has to run. The moment class ends, she plans to slip away without waiting for her brother. Taking the back gate seems safest, so he doesn't cross paths with Mina and her bullies. Meanwhile, Miss Lily wraps up her lecture and dismisses the rest of the class. Everyone leaves except Suyoshi, who stays behind to ask his teacher what is wrong. She gently asks if he is settling back into school after being gone so long. She wants to know if there is anything she can do to help him adjust. If the bullies start bothering him again, she says he must come directly to her. Suyoshi reassures her that he is completely fine now, offering a polite word of thanks. He truly appreciates her worry. After offering a few more standard teacher warnings, Miss Lily finally dismisses him and walks away, leaving him alone in the hallway. One of his old bullies approaches Suyoshi, offering a very tense and shaky apology. Sweating bullets, the guy asks him to step into the restroom to talk privately. Suyoshi follows him down the empty hall, but as they round the very first corner, thugs suddenly jump out swinging wooden sticks. Talk about a totally cheap setup. Suyoshi calmly activates 30% of his ultimate physique, stopping their attacks effortlessly. The heavy wood shatters. He knew this pathetic coward was planning something all along. But this is just embarrassing. He doesn't even waste time and unleashes a brutal kick, sending them flying down the hallway like complete trash. Only one remains standing. Trembling with fear, the leader charges in, desperate to save what is left of his ego. Suyoshi turns around, meeting him with cold, dead eyes. Outside of a school, he'd be dead. The bully completely freezes, shaking, terrified. Pure terror takes over. Suyoshi casually delivers a slap so incredibly powerful that the guy crashes into the wall. He tells him his life was saved by one thing: the hero's law that strictly forbids finishing off ordinary civilians. A lucky break. Meanwhile, near the back gate, poor Karina is desperately trying to limp away alone. She hopes to slip through the back exit and circle around to the front entrance. Reaching a steep flight of stairs, she freezes in terror, but she takes a breath, forcing her legs to move. Right then, Mina suddenly appears directly behind her and delivers a cruel shove, sending Karina tumbling violently down the concrete steps. Her head slams hard against the floor, blood pooling. Mina stands over her, laughing. She demands that Karina take off those leg braces immediately. Zero mercy. Bleeding and trembling, Karina desperately clings to them. Her brother worked too hard for this. She refuses to let them go, but Mina sneers, declaring she won't escape that easily. With brutal force, the bullies begin yanking the metal braces off her injured legs. At the same time, Suyoshi is waiting patiently at the gate, but Karina never arrives. He heads back to check her classroom, but classmates say she already left. Her friend Haru runs over, asking with deep concern if he is indeed Karina's brother. When he nods and asks where she is, Haru points toward the back gate exit. She tells him to look there. He wastes no time and runs inside. Sprinting down the hallway, he wonders why his sister would take such a weird detour. Haru looked absolutely terrified, which means something is horribly wrong. His stomach drops. He rounds the corner and his eyes lock onto Karina. It completely shatters him. There she lies, beaten bloody on the cold floor, covered in horrible bruises. Through the pain, she forces a tiny smile, lying that she simply tripped and fell. She blames the stairs, claiming it was all her fault. The excuse is so flat that no sane person would buy it, but she keeps insisting. Suyoshi quietly activates his divine eye and sees the brutal truth. Her injuries came from fists, pinches, and multiple slaps. With kicks layered all over her body, Suyoshi can imagine exactly what she went through, but for now, he plays along with her story about tumbling down the stairs. Karina apologizes for breaking her walking stick and says she is causing trouble again because she cannot stand and Suyoshi has to help her. Choking back his raw emotion, Suyoshi packs her scattered things back into her backpack and reminds her they are family, so there is no such thing as a burden. She nervously asks if her leg braces are still okay, and he instantly answers yes, without hesitation, which finally makes her relax a little. Poor Karina is more worried about the braces Suyoshi bought her than about her own broken body, and she absolutely deserves justice. Suyoshi lifts her up onto his back for a piggyback ride and slowly walks home, the familiar weight bringing back a wave of deep nostalgia. He reminds her of carrying her like this years ago, and he can feel how much she has grown since then. To Karina, that day feels like yesterday. And ever since that very moment, they have been completely inseparable. Suyoshi tells her she is the only family he has left, the one person he must protect. With everything he has, Suyoshi openly admits he was completely powerless back then, but now he is a true hero who will never let her suffer ever again. After reaching home, Suyoshi gently sets her down and casually claims he forgot something back at school. In reality, Suyoshi is already planning to head straight back. This time, he is going to show those scum exactly what happens when someone lays a hand on his little sister, and boy, those bullies have it coming. Meanwhile, Mina hangs out with her boyfriend and brags about beating Karina up. Mina laughs that because the girl desperately protected her legs, she was wide open for kicks. She is highly annoyed they failed to steal the braces, but since those things look like they would sell for good cash, she orders her dog of a boyfriend to snatch them next time. Her boyfriend Billy is a pretty ugly little brat, and nobody knows how he managed to snag such a gorgeous girlfriend. He reassures her he will grab those braces tomorrow if they can actually be sold for cash. Her friend nervously mentions that Karina's brother is back at school, admitting that she is worried this might cause trouble, especially since she heard Suyoshi dropped out to work as a lowly janitor. Mina instantly finds a fresh angle to mock them, laughing that a garbage man and his disabled sister make a perfect trash family. She sneers that it is embarrassing they go to the same school as her. Her friend slips up and admits Karina was pretty popular before her legs got wrecked, and tons of boys liked her for being cute and stylish. Hearing that, Billy suddenly admits he wants to see what Karina looks like now, making Mina instantly see red. He quickly pulls her clothes and makes excuses, pleading that guys are just guys and he did not mean anything by it. Mina, who is completely blind in love, quickly cools down. She suggests they play together tomorrow after Billy steals Karina's braces and they sell them for easy cash. Too bad for them, Suyoshi is already standing right outside the door, hearing every single word. He barges into. He steps into the room, pointing at the ones who hurt Karina despite her cover story that she simply fell down the stairs. Once they realize he is Karina's brother, Mina sneers, asking if he came for revenge, laughing that he picked the absolute worst time to show up. Then Billy cracks his knuckles and steps up, bragging that while Tsuyoshi is only a third year, he has clearly never heard of the great Billy. He claims Mina was just messing around with Karina. He walks right up to Tsuyoshi like a budget Burj Khalifa, looking down on him and casually asking if he has a problem with that. A second later, Tsuyoshi grabs one of his fingers and squeezes with pure brute force, snapping it like a twig and leaving everyone in the room completely paralyzed with shock. Billy stumbles backward, screaming as he clutches his mangled hand. Tsuyoshi steps toward the door, shuts it, and calmly declares that nobody is getting out of here, not even him. Mina finally loses her cool and snaps, demanding to know what he thinks he is doing. Tsuyoshi uses his divine eye and sees they are all basically garbage NPCs with zero levels and zero skills. He admits he thought she was actually a hero, but it turns out she just torments the weak for fun. Meanwhile, as Billy writhes on the floor clutching his hand, he still tries to act tough and demands to know if Tsuyoshi knows who his father is. Their friend Vivian finally steps forward, giving him credit for walking in alone, but warns him that despite their lack of hero status, they are definitely not people he should be messing with. But Tsuyoshi does not care about her warning at all, throwing a brutal punch straight into her chest, sending her flying across the room like a punted football. Talk about satisfying. He is clearly no Sanji, having zero issue folding a foul-mouthed woman acting like a villain. Billy breaks into a cold sweat, realizing that kind of extreme speed and power is completely unreal, way beyond anything a normal human could ever do. Mina looks at Vivian in absolute panic, while Billy desperately shouts the same weak threat, screaming to know if Tsuyoshi has any idea who his father is. Tsuyoshi answers with his fist, shattering Billy's teeth and pride with a single devastating blow. Then he walks directly toward Mina and coldly tells her that he does not view her as a woman. Wrapping his hand tightly around her neck, he reminds her that she was the mastermind behind everything, and as Karina's brother, he will never forgive her. He tightens his grip just enough to restrict her breathing, leaving her shaking and sweating in terror while he growls that she better stay away from Karina, or next time he will snap her neck. Terrified, Mina desperately nods to his demands just to get some air, so he drops her and turns his focus back to Billy, casually picking up a metal ruler. Just remembering the vile things Billy said about Karina makes him physically sick. And he realizes if this absolute clown were actually a hero, he would have ended him right here. Now crying out in sheer terror, Billy finally spills the truth, begging for mercy and screaming that his father is the boss of the Black Snake Gang and a level 10 hero. Tsuyoshi pauses, suddenly putting two and two together. He remembers this is the exact gang that tried to abduct Karina from the hospital, repeating almost the exact same threats, without wasting another breath. He triggers Thunder Chain and blasts a devastating shock directly into Billy. Even without a proper weapon equipped, the system casually reports that his total damage is reduced by 90%, yet that remaining 10% is still plenty. Pain enough to make Billy scream and crumple in agony. Suyoshi casually grabs his bag. Like nothing happened, heading straight to the door while the others shake in absolute terror. Before leaving, he gives a cold warning. This is their absolute last chance, telling them to clean up this messy room themselves. As Suyoshi leaves, Mina finally drags herself all the way over to Billy, asking if he is okay and if they should head to the hospital, but Billy stubbornly refuses like a total clown, saying he is fine and just needs some rest. Honestly, Mina learned absolutely nothing from getting completely folded. She keeps running her mouth, complaining that this fight is not over yet and he needs to make Suyoshi pay for the scar on her neck. Instead of comforting her, Billy grabs her shoulders, yelling that she does not need to tell him what to do, and swears he will call his dad to wipe Suyoshi and his sister off the map. Meanwhile, Karina waits anxiously for her brother, hoping he is doing all right, wishing that if she could just protect herself, he wouldn't have to carry this worry about her on top of being a new hero. Suddenly, Suyoshi pops up and calls her name, nearly scaring the soul out of her body, before apologizing for being late and giving her another warm piggyback ride home. While carrying her, he keeps thinking that Billy is definitely going to run crying to his dad for heavy payback. Against them, he knows Karina will be in serious danger if his guard drops, so he decides he must stay alert from now on. After safely dropping her off and making sure she is completely secure, Suyoshi jumps back through the portal to the other world, arriving in the northern region alongside Sakura. She explains that once they enter the nearby town, he can finally take official quests after registering at the local adventure guild, a massive place packed with bustling taverns, blacksmiths, and all those classic fantasy spots you see in popular games like Genshin Impact, getting him totally hyped for some real fantasy warfare. Walking deeper into the north city, Suyoshi gets excited seeing all the different beastmen tribes walking around. Suddenly his eyes lock onto a group of human adventurers and Sakura asks if they resemble the people from his home world, while explaining that many different tribes live together here under a guild, with a strict rule to avoid fatal life or death clashes outside the arena. She adds that this place is still a beastman territory at its core, so you will barely see proud elves or noble beastmen around. Suyoshi finds this pretty interesting, noting how incredibly rare human comrades are in this world, and instantly feels a strange, nostalgic bond with them. Just like that, he drops his cool act and goes full goofy mode. His first move: he walks straight up to those random humans, greeting them like they are old best friends, but they immediately draw back on high guard, demanding to know what he wants. He just makes a completely blank poker face, wondering if simply saying hello is against some local rules. Sensing the tension, Sakura quickly steps in with a tense fighting stance. To explain it is just a misunderstanding, but they feel something dangerous in her aura, slowly backing away while Sakura drags him aside, warning him not to blindly approach adventurers, especially humans who are always incredibly wary of their surroundings. Suyoshi then notices the crowd around them whispering, and Sakura quietly admits she is a half-beastman, and hybrids are not exactly welcome in these parts. She urges him to hurry and get registered at the guild. He walks beside her, reaching out his hand with a warm, reassuring smile, saying discrimination is everywhere, but she does not need to worry with him right by her side. No matter what, he has her back. Arriving at the guild, his eyes sweep the hall. Everything looks amazing, feeling exactly like a classic fantasy anime. He stands staring at the quest board outside until Sakura snaps him back to reality. She reminds him that taking quests is impossible without registering first, so they go in. Walking up to the reception, they meet a gorgeous woman working at the counter. Instead of being shocked by a human and half-beast party, she just looks curious. She calmly asks who wants to sign up, and Suyoshi steps forward to claim the spot. He is honestly impressed. She is not acting like the whispering idiots they passed outside. She explains that after seeing countless weird combinations, their duo is nothing special. She hands him a registration form, telling him to write down his personal details. This paperwork links to every single branch, allowing him to take on jobs anywhere. Suyoshi gets incredibly hyped holding such an official-looking document. Sakura proudly points out that the real challenge is actually completing the registration process. Without finishing this step, he gets absolutely nothing, no badge. The receptionist adds that this badge serves as his official identification. Everyone starts at the very bottom with an iron rank, working their way up. Climbing the ranks brings better pay and prestige, all the way up to gold level. Only a handful of elite gold rankers exist, usually taking high-paying jobs from wealthy clients. Once he receives the badge, his actual power level gets directly tied to it. He can even conceal his true stats just by focusing his mind and thinking about it. It is a simple mental trick once the badge and his status are fully linked. Everyone dismisses him as a harmless rookie, but he just closes his eyes. He easily suppresses his displayed level on his first try, thanks to his system. The receptionist freezes. She stares at him in absolute disbelief. Beginners usually struggle for hours just to get this trick right. Doing it instantly on the first try makes this guy look highly dangerous. Suddenly, two massive beastmen march up to the counter, interrupting them. They slam a massive trophy onto the desk to report their successful quest. After demanding their payout, they ask if any high-paying jobs are left. They boldly invite her out, but she politely rejects their clumsy advances. Explaining she is too busy, she offers them a highly difficult emergency quest instead. It comes with a massive bounty, but requires a level 15 adventurer. Swarms of deadly darkness monsters are currently terrorizing the local farmlands. A strong three-man team already tried and failed, leaving them badly beaten. One of their members is still missing, and the rest barely survived. Hearing this, they freeze. The boastful beastmen instantly lose their nerve. Meanwhile, our guy is thrilled after picking up a powerful new skill. He accepts the deadly mission, then he turns to the beastmen. He tells them to get lost, calling them useless trash right to their faces. That insult is more than enough to completely trigger the hot-headed warrior. He reaches for his weapon, but his partner quickly grabs his arm to stop him. Drawing blades inside the guild has severe consequences, so they have to hold back. He warns Suyoshi that taking this quest is a fast track to the grave. Since they will not stop talking, Suyoshi challenges them to a real fight. The arena to witness his raw power firsthand. He is fully convinced he can beat a level 9 beastman with the divine selection system backing him, even. Though he is completely drunk on protagonist confidence, the beastman sneers and tells him to remember his place, even if they wear identical badges. He and his partner have real quest experience while Suyoshi will just look like a total joke if the client rejects him immediately. The pretty receptionist praises his courage politely, but she still admits she shares that very same worry which stings his ego. Then Sakura steps in and calmly declares they will take the request, speaking up as if she has decided this for both of them. The beastmen are stunned to realize she is a half-beast, demanding to know what she has to back up such a bold claim. Then she flashes her badge, a gold rank that absolutely shocks everyone, including Suyoshi himself. Seeing that, the receptionist immediately entrusts the emergency quest to them, saying the client will be incredibly relieved, while those two arrogant beastmen slink out of the guild in pure embarrassment. On the way out, Sakura quietly tells him this quest is absolutely perfect for his progression, so Suyoshi just nods and agrees to take it on. The receptionist hears her calling him master, does a double take, and wonders why a gold rank adventurer is talking like that to a newbie human. As they head toward the farm, Suyoshi brings it up, admitting he had absolutely no idea she held a gold badge this whole time. She explains that she joined the guild when she was just a kid and kept doing quests with different parties nonstop. Eventually, she noticed she had already met the requirements for a gold badge, so she went to the counter one day, upgraded her rank, and kept it quiet. Without making a big deal out of it, Suyoshi realizes she has been grinding since she was small and must have worked insanely hard, so he tells her she is genuinely amazing. She blushes as her crush finally praises her, shyly thanking him, and as they talk, the farm comes into view, already looking pretty creepy. From the very first glance, they peek inside and Suyoshi wonders how many gross things are even crammed into that building because this pitch darkness looks straight up disgusting. Sakura explains that the shadow will corrupt any human it touches, making them go berserk and boosting their strength. While low-level beings completely lose their sanity, she adds that these are actually slimes, but the rot corrupted them into dark slimes vulnerable only to thunder. Element attacks, Suyoshi finally understands why they look so mushy and incredibly gross, suggesting that his thunder chain fall technique might work. He pulls out his weapon, thinking he brought it just in time to level up. But Sakura suddenly grabs his shirt and stops him, and no, this isn't some cliché romantic moment, she is actually warning him not to charge into this alone. This is the exact kind of battle that could easily cost him his life. And it is on a completely different level compared to the beginner zones. She says he might be fine if it were just one-on-one. But what if a whole horde of those things swarms him at once? Sakura reminds him of the look on those beastmen when they heard the quest details. Because they knew exactly how dangerous this was, and she cannot risk losing him. Grinding his life away just for levels, she wants in, she wants to fight. Right by his side instead of letting him solo everything like a classic shonen hero. He admits she has a point, he is only leveling up to protect his own world from whatever comes next, but he also has that trial from the Beastman King waiting, 1 year left, so he asks his first question, honestly, how strong is this Beastman King? He has absolutely no idea how strong he must get in 1 year to prove himself. Sakura's face completely falls, she speaks with absolute gravity. Passing that trial in only 1 year, it is basically impossible. Looking at his current low level, he immediately asks why she thinks that. She explains that simply surviving for 1 year is already a miracle. At the very least, he must avoid getting erased by their divine judgment. Then Sakura asks a question, does he even know how levels work? He asks for an explanation, all this time he assumed both worlds shared the same system, the higher his level here the stronger he becomes back home, beyond that he is completely clueless. She finally breaks the news, adventurers have a hard cap of 100. And the Beastman King sits comfortably at level 92, insane. His combat skills are absolute, his power level is unmatched. The Beastmen, human, and elven kings are the ultimate peaks of their races. Sakura explains that the reason she said passing is impossible. For Yoshi to pass this trial is because everyone faces a very hard limit on how much they can grow. An adventurer cannot keep leveling up forever. The higher your level gets, the harder it is to climb, she points to herself as proof. She has been an adventurer for over 20 years, yet she is still stuck at level 72. That is no low level. But no matter how hard she tried, she hit a complete wall, and that is how she learned everyone has a limit. To stand any chance at passing the trial, he must reach level 50. From her point of view, there is simply no way he climbs that high in 1 year, at least. She promises to stay by his side and help him train for that year, even if he cannot keep his word to the Beastman King. But Yoshi just smiles. He completely gets her worry, but he is no ordinary human. He stood right back up after taking divine judgment and even lifted the hammer. As long as he hits level 50, he knows he will be absolutely fine. In his head, he remembers he only came here because of that weird ring. Now he has this divine selection system. Normal life is officially out the window. Sakura smiles, telling him that if he actually pulls this off, he will be a true legend, and she believes in him. After that, Yoshi pulls out his sword, asking his next big question, if he faces a level 10 warrior backed by a dozen minions, what level should he aim for? She has absolutely no idea why he is asking, but under these conditions, he should be level 12 to hold the advantage, so Yoshi casually decides he will hit level 12 within a week. He walks toward a dark blob, looming larger than a normal titan, even with countless others surrounding them. He activates his divine eye on the slime. Beside thunder, he spots its main flaw, the core inside. When the outer shell takes damage, the core will glow during regeneration. That brief moment is his only window to pinpoint it. He targets it with Thunder Chain Fall and charges straight ahead. Sakura screams out a warning. Any touch of that slime will corrupt his body instantly. Leaping high, he prepares to block the monster's incoming strike. Utilizing his ultimate physique, he effortlessly deflects the blow and slices the slime clean in half, but wait, there is no glowing core in its chest. He steps back, the creature reforms instantly, faster than his brain can process. Its mouth splits open, A terrifying maw of needle teeth lunges to swallow him. Big mistake, it picked the wrong opponent. Suyoshi prepares to strike. Channeling his power, he grabs the monster and literally rips it to pieces. Sakura's jaw drops. Her mind is blown by his completely absurd physical strength. Honestly, she thinks he might actually be someone who turns impossible into doable. As the dark mass tries to reform, its hidden gemstone core starts glowing. It is tucked under its tongue. He charges his sword with crackling thunder and drives a heavy strike directly into the core, instantly shattering it. Brushing off the slime, he casually laughs that this request was pretty easy. Within 30 minutes, he easily clears out nearly all the dark monsters. But instead of celebrating, he looks closely at his daily status screen. His experience bar is barely moving, just like Sakura warned him these mobs give terrible experience. He seriously needs to rethink his entire leveling strategy. Simple guild requests will never get him to his goals in time. He must reach level 12 in a single week and level 20 in a year. That requires serious grinding. He asks Sakura if she has any thunder ointment. This useful ointment combines basic tree oil with thunderflower to coat weapons. It imbues attacks with lightning. She starts digging through her leather bag. She counts 4 bottles left, explaining she prepared them so they could share. He expected that. He asks if she bought them from the merchant beforehand. His plan is to buy plenty of oil-based items next time they shop. After all, that basic cooking oil they used earlier was extremely useful. Sakura panics. She apologizes, explaining that these supplies cost actual money. In fact, she spent every single coin they had. He stops her. Do not apologize, he says. Just explain the actual costs and reward payouts. He regrets completely ignoring how vital money is in this new world. He was so obsessed with raw levels that he forgot basic survival. And Sakura, she would spend her entire savings and say absolutely nothing. She immediately starts lecturing him like a schoolteacher about their tight finances. Rare thunder oil is expensive, costing around 30 silver coins a bottle. As for basic guild requests, the reward depends entirely on the objective. Usually, these low-level tasks pay out less than 1 gold coin. That is why adventurers usually take private jobs to find lost valuable items. Normal citizens pay much better when they lose something precious to them. For simple mob cleaning requests, the typical guild payout is quite low. It ranges from 50 silver coins to 3 gold coins depending on danger. It is a pretty tough request to wipe out the carnivorous darkness, and she expects around 3 gold coins back depending on the client. Once they finish up, the Adventurer Guild handles the final calculations and grants the group their reward. As she calculates their split, Suyoshi's eyes start to sparkle. She seems like a highly dependable wife. She is total wife material, and he is done trying to deny it. Now only the final boss remains, likely hiding out inside the warehouse. The duo prepares to crush it quickly and keep moving. Right then, the farm owner and a whole group of strangers suddenly block their path. The Beastman client asks who allowed them to enter his farm and wonders what a human and a half is doing here. A goat man senses lingering sparks of lightning magic and wonders if Tsuyoshi somehow cleared that darkness. The tiger beastman cannot believe a human and a half actually pulled that off. Wiping out darkness is already tough. He narrows his eyes. Did they come looking for that special item? The tiger tries to keep it quiet, but his loud comrades blurt it out. Anyway, assuming Tsuyoshi and Sakura are here for the rare Cardiolis drop, they claim that since they accepted this job, the Cardiolis belongs entirely to them. Tsuyoshi has absolutely no idea what Cardiolis even is and tries to explain the simple guild request, but then Sakura suddenly freezes up with a shocked expression. She cannot believe this boss actually drops the legendary Cardiolis and demands verification. The client nods, admitting he posted the guild request but never expected anyone to show up so quickly without even knowing about the valuable drop. The smug tiger beastman snorts, telling them to back off immediately if that is the case. He warns them that if they try to get in their way of this treasure, his party will show absolutely no mercy. Instantly, Tsuyoshi and Sakura raise their weapons, though he is still totally confused about what Cardiolis is. Sakura quickly whispers that they cannot lose this item, since a purified Cardiolis opens up a direct link to the dark territory. Monsters inside that zone grant 10 times more experience and rare loot drops. No self-respecting adventurer would ever let an insane level-up chance like that slip. In fact, selling it unpurified at an auction would easily bring in at least 100 gold coins. Once purified, the price jumps even higher. We are talking easily over 150 gold coins. Hearing the price, Suyoshi instantly shifts to greedy mode. Yeah, he is taking that treasure. The client steps in to stop the rising tension, begging both sides to calm down and talk. He explains that since one group represents the guild and the other was hired privately, they must prove their worth. The team that defeats the boss claims the prize. Sakura immediately steps forward, desperate to secure the drop for her beloved master. But the opposing beastmen growl in protest, insisting on a fair sequence. They claim each group gets only one shot, and since the client brought them, they deserve to enter first. Yielding to pressure, the client agrees and lets them take the lead. The beastmen march ahead, proudly flexing their bulky frames. Sakura silently watches, carefully analyzing the massive muscleheads' combat potential. They have solid balance, and with good teamwork, they might actually pull it off. Absolutely confident they will win, Suyoshi steps up with a crazy proposal. He asks what if they let him go in alone, being a level 6 adventurer. If he loses, his party will abandon the quest and the entire reward, but if he somehow wins, the loot belongs to him. His rivals freeze, then they erupt into hysterics, mocking his low level. They gladly agree to his plan, laughing as they let him go first. A worried Sakura asks if he is absolutely sure about fighting this boss. This opponent is not just a high-level 12 beast, but is also corrupted by heavy darkness, meaning basic thunder spells will not be enough to stop it. But he just throws her a playful wink, completely stealing her heart instantly. She quickly blushes, surrounded by romantic flowers while the beastmen laugh. A total joke, that is what they think, but then Suyoshi locks in. His expression turns serious, releasing a heavy aura as he approaches the target. It is level 14, looking like a creepy, one-eyed octopus monster. The beastmen gasp at its tier, figuring he would need to be level 24 just to survive. Sakura panics, she is absolutely terrified. The tiger beastman snarls, telling her to get ready to collect a corpse. Because her boyfriend will not last even a single second, she immediately shoots them a furious, protective glare, classic wife material, telling them to shut up. Inside, Suyoshi thinks the boss must share the same weakness as the minions, at least in theory, but this creature feels way stronger. He cannot reuse his basic tricks here, he has to summon his divine hammer. Suddenly, a system warning flashes, since his health is currently too low. He cannot utilize the weapon's true power. Activating it now will drain a massive amount of his remaining energy, so he formulates a reckless plan. He will buff his arms, boost his thunder spell with the Heaven Shaker, and then unleash the divine hammer at the absolute last possible second. One mistake and his life is over. Still, he desperately wants that rare drop. He lunges forward, swinging his massive hammer straight into the boss's creepy mouth. The impact is so violent that blinding electrical sparks explode across the area. The whole structure looks ready to blow. Sakura clutches her hands in panic, knowing that using a skill of that level will leave him completely drained. Suddenly, the building collapses into rubble. Sakura desperately runs toward the debris. Absolute confusion. The beastmen just stand there, utterly stunned by the blast. While she searches, a dried, skeletal-looking hand reaches up from the dirt. He slowly crawls out of the wreckage, looking like a mummy drained of life. Is this it? He grins, weakly presenting the rare cardiolollies to her. It shines as a bright blue crystal wrapped in a dark, ominous aura. They head straight back to the guild, where a receptionist directs them to the shamans, explaining the crystal must be purified before they can use it. She writes a quick recommendation letter to the shaman guild in the east. With the big shaman exams starting soon, they might be busy, but her note should open doors. Hearing this, Suyoshi is surprised to learn shamans even have official ranks. Sakura explains that being a shaman is an honorary title, earned through tough exams that split them into 6 different tiers. Pharmacists and elven awakeners, high-level shamans can craft specialized medicines and items, making their creations far more effective and pushing their prices sky-high. They are not standard sellswords, but a highly respected caste, completely avoiding any active battlefield duty, just like pharmacists and awakeners, beyond simply brewing rare Medicines, the best among them, can actually alter an adventurer's level cap. Just like us, Tsuyoshi has absolutely no idea what a level cap even means. Sakura clarifies this with an old saying, fear a high-level shaman. More than 10 high-level warriors, elixirs brewed by these elite shamans, decide the fate of entire wars, and premium grades can even accelerate a warrior's training. It is no wonder people throw money at them. There is even a rumor about a level 80 warrior who crossed a silver shaman. That shaman instantly called in dozens of elite 80-plus heavy hitters to hunt the offender down, and you can guess how agonizing his final moments were. After that brutal lesson, everyone realized the true, terrifying reach of these spiritual masters. Tsuyoshi listens, finding the whole system pretty intriguing. Right on cue, the receptionist returns with their official recommendation letter, hoping they can secure an audience to purify their cursed cardioles. Approaching the massive guild, they find a massive crowd of hope-filled candidates blocking the gates. For the entrance exam, Sakura points out elite students from noble families, prestigious academies, and powerful factions, warning him that passing is next to impossible. Clutching his arm, she steps toward the white-robed gatekeeper, asking politely if they can enter to cleanse their cardioles. Of course, right on cue here comes the inevitable clash. The guard sneers, looking down on this basic human and half-breed duo, instantly rejecting them because the prestigious exam is currently underway. Sakura bows, trying to explain they carry a high-ranking guild referral, but the arrogant gatekeeper shoves her back, snapping that he could not care less about papers when their sacred trial is active. Suyoshi immediately blocks him, stepping in to shield her and demanding entry. Veins bulge on the guard's forehead as he glares at Suyoshi, disgusted by this sudden display of empty bravado from a mere peasant. Making it crystal clear they have zero authority here, nobody passes until the testing concludes. Ready to throw hands, Tsuyoshi balls his fists. But a blue-ranked master named Doug suddenly intervenes. He heads the Northern Shaman Association. What makes this encounter so bizarre is that this powerful figure has an actual goat head. Talk about a literal legendary goat. The gatekeeper bows low, explaining that these uninvited guests are demanding a purification ritual on an important testing day. Even after a clear rejection, they refuse to leave. Tsuyoshi completely bypasses the guard, addressing the president directly to ask why a valid recommendation gets ignored. The goat-faced elder is surprisingly reasonable, offering to cleanse the relic personally, but explains his schedule is completely packed with the current trials, asking them to return later. With his own clock ticking down, Tsuyoshi presses for another option. Doug ponders briefly before offering an insane shortcut. Shaman trial, secure the top score, and he will personally handle the. But there's a catch. As a warrior, Tsuyoshi lacks the proper qualifications. No exam for him. When he asks about the rules, other candidates just sneer. They burst into loud, mocking laughter. They treat him like a complete, clueless fool. The president steps in. He explains shamans are built on magic, requiring real aptitude. 2 tests are required, potions and crafting. This is the bare minimum. Only after those trials can anyone officially become a novice white shaman. Tsuyoshi just smiles. He casually asks the guild president to borrow his staff. The white shaman snaps, threatening to call the guards if he keeps pushing. It is useless anyway. He sneers that a non-mage cannot use a magical weapon. But Tsuyoshi does not budge. He demands the staff again, confident as ever. He insists on proving he has what it takes to pass. Intrigued, the president hands it over. He notes there are no level restrictions. Sakura frantically whispers to ask what he is doing. He just smiles back. He tells her to trust him. She immediately calms down, trusting his track record. Show us, the grumpy shaman scoffs, telling Tsuyoshi to prove his big words. But Tsuyoshi counters with, believe it or not, a sudden love shot. He presses his flat palm to the shaman's chest, striking straight to his heart. A rush of pure, overwhelming pleasure instantly floods the grumpy man's entire body. He actually used absolute duplication. This allows him to copy any magician's skill. With the staff as his medium, his class restrictions completely vanish, in theory. Choosing the warrior class first was honestly just a personal preference. Floating magic skills appear before him, and he selects the shining skill. The staff blazes, a strong light erupts, blinding everyone in the room. A bright, golden aura begins radiating intensely from his body as he casts. He calmly asks if casting magic qualifies him for the exam. The president is stunned. He recognizes the refined mana waves of a genius. Close your eyes, he tells Sakura right before the magic explodes outward. The blinding wave sweeps the room. The president quickly raises a shield. He watches the magical display. It is decent enough for an average adventurer. Furthermore, he is absolutely certain his shield can easily block this tier. But Suyoshi has other plans. A system screen prompts him to enhance it. He triggers his ultimate physique, and a terrifying wave of energy erupts. Watch this, the raw intensity of the light increases beyond control. The president's defensive shield instantly shatters into tiny, sparkling pieces under the pressure. With the chaotic aura swirling around him, Suyoshi asks if he qualifies now. The stunned president quickly nods. Honestly, he doesn't have much of a choice. Step inside the grand exam hall. Murmurs and gossip immediately break out. They simply cannot believe a human is actually taking part in this ritual. Suyoshi feels the hostile glares. Sakura whispers that he is making history. No human has ever attempted this before, so everyone expects some trap. He is completely taken aback. He had no idea he was the first. She explains that humans usually stay in their own lane as pharmacists. It is basically their equivalent to beastmen shamans, very traditional. While no official rules ban humans, an unwritten tradition kept them out. Over time, these three distinct classes have established highly competitive factions. Stepping into that dangerous territory will naturally be seen as a direct provocation. For the first time, Suyoshi actually completely panics and whispers he just wanted quick purification. He did not want to pick a fight with an entire shaman faction. Sakura quickly reassures him, but then the pig vice president steps forward. This blue-rank beastman does not openly oppose the president's sudden decision. However, he warns that setting such a precedent will deeply hurt their faction's proud reputation. Besides, he seriously doubts a human can brew anything without a basic staff. The president calmly counters his doubts, explaining that today's test is purely to witness the boy's talent. He simply wants to see if Suyoshi actually has the skills to brew. After all, he recently felt incredibly powerful waves radiating from the boy. He has only seen that kind of raw potential in the genius, Kevin. The stout pig laughs out loud, utterly scoffing at the idea of comparing a mere human to actual greatness. To him, Suyoshi is not even worthy of carrying sandals for Kevin's disciples. The president wonders if his disciple is here. The pig confirms Fuelin is indeed here, aiming straight for first place. Kevin himself publicly praises her, calling her an absolute prodigy. He even claims she already far surpasses what he himself was capable of in his younger days. She stands calmly as the massive beastmen stare down at the little girl. Rumor has it she was successfully brewing complex potions on her own last year. Back then, strict age limits disqualified her, but this time she is dead set on taking first place. This cute cat girl hears all their quiet muttering, and it highly annoys her. Suddenly, the pig and the president make their grand entrance. The pig bellows that the exam is starting, telling everyone to find their spots. Candidates are ordered to quickly find their stations based on the exact numbers they were assigned. Holding number 15, Suyoshi bids a quick goodbye to his worried girlfriend and walks to his spot. Thanks to his weird luck, he ends up stationed right next to Fuelin. She looks completely shocked to see a basic human standing in this arena. Suyoshi immediately introduces himself, casually noting how cute she is. He is already daydreaming about a whole roster of girls, but she is absolutely not having it. She flatly tells him that some people will do anything for attention. That sharp comment hits him right in the chest. She has a brutal tongue. The guy learns the absolute hard way that even incredibly sweet-looking girls can be savage to strangers. But hey, the enemies to lovers trope is always a classic, right? The president commands the room, announcing the basic shaman skill test. They must successfully brew their own potions, but then the ground suddenly starts violently shaking. A massive stone slab rises up, completely startling our unprepared hero. Fuelin taunts him, asking if he has ever even seen a refining station. Suyoshi drops his confident look and makes a thoroughly annoyed face. He just wishes she would leave him alone. Still, he notices how ancient and manual their brewing process actually is. Back in his own world, everything is fully automated, and people simply swallow manufactured capsules. Suddenly, the pig slams his staff down, activating a massive glowing circle. Small stone tablets float up, displaying the exact details of the test. Looking closely, Suyoshi reads the shocking prompt requiring them to craft 3 whole energy potions. And they only have 1 hour. Our boy doesn't even know how to make one. Absolutely no cheating allowed. Suddenly, the president shaman announces that the very first challenge is selecting proper materials from a huge pile of various ingredients. On the refining table, doing this requires deep knowledge. They do not know a basic energy potion requires 9 specific ingredients. If just one item is wrong, the whole brew is ruined, and that is where most candidates get disqualified. Right on cue, the crowd panics. Struggling to decide, nearby Suyoshi overhears Fuelin whispering that when a true mage brews a potion, the materials are already prepared in advance. Honestly, she thinks it is pathetic how they cannot even memorize the simplest starter recipes. Suyoshi looks over. Fuelin has already finished choosing everything. Her crazy speed absolutely shocks him and the surrounding beastmen. Meanwhile, the elders already expect this exam to be a total breeze. She raises her staff, spinning it over the materials. To begin the refinement process, looking insanely cool and stylish while doing so, Suyoshi realizes she talks major trash but is seriously skilled, so he activates Divine Eye to copy her technique. Swirling her mana, Fuelin blends the ingredients with flawless precision, filling her test tube without spilling a single drop. The president shaman announces the final and most crucial step of the exam, the refining. This part blends the ingredients using raw mana, heavily testing one's power. He is certain that if things keep going like this, Fuelin will easily take first place. Meanwhile, the president glances over at Suyoshi, deeply wondering why the guy has not even started yet. Meanwhile, showing off her completely effortless elegance, Fuelin completes the entire refining process, easily producing 3 perfect potions easily. The president shaman praises her talent, instructing her to wait until the end of the exam for a proper evaluation. Being pretty smug, she clicks her tongue, annoyed that she has to wait around. Spinning around, she notices a quiet guy staring right at her, prompting her to snap at him for looking at her like that. Maybe he was just admire-struck earlier, but now he is watching for his own secret reasons. Suyoshi finishes analyzing her entire physical process with his divine eye and focuses on his own desk, silently thanking her. Suddenly, a holographic screen asks if he wants to optimize the analyzed actions, and he quickly grants the system permission. Instantly, it automatically gathers the ingredients and begins grinding them, speeding straight into the refining phase. Witnessing the sudden burst of vibrant colors, the surrounding crowd simply cannot believe their eyes. Suyoshi is sorting and grinding everything simultaneously, while refining the mixture at the very same time. Fuelin refuses to believe a human possesses such insane power. The pig notes this looks exactly like the legendary technique Kevin demonstrated during his own youthful shaman exam, which was famously called process simplification. It requires a massive amount of mana, making him wonder if Suyoshi is actually on par with Kevin. Just working like this feels incredibly comfortable, almost as if he has done it a bunch of times already. He starts to realize there is a deep art to brewing. Honestly, this whole shaman path is starting to feel pretty exciting. He smoothly pours his raw mana directly into the materials, forming a truly flawless potion. Fuelin's eyes widen in absolute jaw-dropping disbelief, utterly unable to accept losing to a worthless human. She frantically wonders if he is copying the technique Kevin used to stun everyone during the shaman exam called swift completion. The president shaman has the same. He remembered Kevin using that technique to brew a C-grade potion. It did not look like something a basic white shaman could brew. Back then, President Doug was judging, and even he struggled with C-grade potions. Potion ranks span from D to S, based entirely on the creator's mastery. A higher grade means drastically better effects and market value. The pig elder praises Kevin. A mere human reaching C-grade is massive. It takes flawless control to pull off something so legendary. But Suyoshi knows he cannot brew one in this chaotic room. He would be lucky to get a D grade. Suddenly, wind starts swirling. A system notification pops up, predicting his final potion quality. The screen warns him his current energy potion will only be grade D. At first, Suyoshi thinks that is more than enough to pass the exam. But he hesitates, realizing Fuelin will take first place if she brews a C grade. Honestly, our guy does not even fully get what C rank actually means. Still, he wants to try. Suddenly, the old man's advice clicks in his head. Potion quality relies heavily on the strength and elemental attribute of your magic. He can boost his strength using ultimate physique, but changing attributes is tricky. He is completely stuck. Meanwhile, President Doug notices him hesitating. This is dangerous since a shaman's absolute confidence shapes their magic. Any self-doubt can completely ruin the entire refinement process. The pig elder mocks him, claiming the boy has run out of mana. He laughs, saying Suyoshi wasted all his energy during the extraction phase. Even Fuelin gets worried, wondering why he is suddenly stopping. One final push and the solidification would be fully complete. A concerned beastman steps forward, warning him that his magic is fading. But Fuelin steps in and shoves the beastman back immediately. She snaps at him to back off and shows some basic shaman etiquette. Meanwhile, Suyoshi is sweating, his magic is completely basic, without any element. How can he possibly change that? Suddenly, he remembers his legendary weapon. When using the Divine King's hammer, lightning had to be channeled. If he borrows that weapon's raw power, he might just force a shift. He summons the heavy hammer, and sparks begin crackling across his skin. His entire mana pool instantly converts into pure lightning. The conversion only lasts a brief moment, but that is plenty. He releases the chaotic energy, successfully finalizing the delicate potion. The watching elders are speechless that he pulled off both stages. President Doug is left completely baffled by what he just witnessed. He felt a strange, foreign elemental wave surge right at the end. Soon, the exam wraps up, and the judges begin grading the potions. A few students fail, but most manage to scrape by with passes. Finally, the pig elder approaches Fuelin's desk to examine her brew. A beautiful, sweet fragrance fills the room, proving its immense purity. Without hesitation, he declares it a flawless C-grade energy potion. The crowd gasps, fully expecting her to secure the top spot today. She proudly accepts the praise, acting every bit like Kevin's star disciple. Not that she cares anyway, she just stands there looking completely unfazed. Meanwhile, the president steps up to Sayoshi's station, asking how he feels about his work. Suyoshi simply replies that he did what he could. That pig-faced elder sneers that a lack of confidence means it is likely garbage, but watch, the president suspects something huge. But the moment he opens the vial, a massive wave of scent floods the room like a storm crackling with pure lightning. The pig-faced elder can barely believe his eyes, muttering that any draft causing a supernatural anomaly is without a doubt a B grade. Fuelin is completely stunned, realizing only a master on Kevin's high caliber could brew a B-grade potion. The president admits they were totally wrong about this young man. His raw talent is far more terrifying than Kevin. With that, Suyoshi easily takes first place, utterly silencing every single doubter. Outside, Sakura is pacing, growing more anxious by the minute. Everyone has left the exam hall except for her favorite alchemist. Right on cue, Suyoshi steps out, calling her name with an apologetic smile. When she eagerly asks how it went, he proudly tells her the big news. He won first place. Sakura literally squeals with joy, praising him endlessly. While the defeated students look down, the sheer embarrassment is hitting them. Like a runaway train, honestly, they look absolutely pathetic. Later, the president takes the cardioles in his hands. He notes that Suyoshi came here for purification despite having the legendary power to win first place. With a smile, the president agrees, but the pig-faced elder demands to know who taught him. Suyoshi shrugs and says he basically figured it out all alone. Which is technically half true. Hearing this, the shocked elders feel absolutely miserable that he studied solo. The president quickly ushers him away to grant him the white robe after purifying the dark cardioles. They pass Fuelin, who is shaking with tears, whispering an apology to her master Kevin for losing to a mere human. Sakura overhears this, her expression flaring with anger. Realizing Fuelin is Kevin's disciple, she glares. Suyoshi asks what is wrong, and she instantly masks her face, saying she was just spacing out. He totally buys the excuse, telling her to follow him to their next goal. After the purification is complete, she quietly walks behind him as they go To the ritual chamber, a creepy room filled with strange plants and dead birds. The president begins chanting the dark ritual, while the pig-faced elder whispers that the Cardiolis is packed with pure malice. He is incredibly lucky the president is performing this elite purification himself. Suyoshi is fascinated, wondering if this is some sort of shaman magic. Sakura explains that shamans are just another type of mage. For grand magic, the stronger the ultimate spell is, the longer the chant becomes. As the ritual peaks, the president slams his staff down, making the Cardiolis float high into the air. With incredible magic, he hands it back, instructing the boy to infuse his own mana into the stone to finally awaken it. As Suyoshi takes the Cardiolis, the president explains that these dangerous stones are ranked by class. Even low-tier versions easily kill adventurers in the dark zone, and this piece is a medium-grade item. Hearing this, Suyoshi gets incredibly excited, because a higher tier means he will grind way more experience in the dark zone. Based on his years of experience, the president says Tsuyoshi needs a standard party to survive. Specifically, 1 tank, 2 warriors, 2 offensive mages, and a pharmacist. He asks if Tsuyoshi has finalized his roster, the exact headcount, and his overall strategy. But Tsuyoshi says he is going solo, and Sakura refuses to split his experience points. She wants him getting every single point of experience for himself. The 2 elders can only stare in sheer disbelief at their insane confidence. Still, they open the dark portal, explaining he can reset the zone exactly twice. Each reset brings a fresh wave of monsters, meaning 3 full runs in total. After that, he gets kicked out, and Cardiolis will crumble to ash forever. Once he enters, there is no escape, none. He either clears out every single beast or lets the timer run down. Dying is the only other exit, which ejects his cold corpse back to reality. Like a worried wife sending her husband to war, Sakura steps up. She hands him a bag of expensive potions bought with their hard-earned quest rewards. Knowing he will need every drop, Tsuyoshi smiles and thanks her for always watching his back. Before he steps through, the president halts him with a sudden, crucial realization. He returned his magic staff, so how does he plan on casting spells? Our guy just smiles, drawing his heavy blade. He does not need a staff. Honestly, watching their jaws drop is the absolute best part of this. The president wonders how insanely powerful this hybrid warrior is going to become. Stepping into the dark forest, a 12-hour countdown immediately flashes to life. Resetting the quest locks the entrance for 12 whole hours. Brutal. Moving deeper, he spots a pack of vicious wolves tearing flesh apart. He must stay sharp because these beasts have blinding speed. Activating his ultimate physique, he charges ahead and swings down with fury. His thunder chain paralyses the pack, sending high-voltage shocks directly through them. Having their health instantly, he grins as 50 experience points roll right in. That is the same payout he would get from a minor boss back home. The plan is simple: grind out 3 full rounds and leave. He hopes to gain 2 levels, but the paralysis wears off incredibly fast. But the dark operates differently, and a massive wolf lunges straight for his throat. He barely blocks the jaws any slower and his throat is gone. Another wolf rears back to strike but suddenly hesitates and retreats. Suyoshi quickly realizes these beasts are coordinating to completely blindside his vision. If they want to play dirty, he simply gears up his ultimate strength. Pumping 60% power into his arms, he unleashes one massive, sweeping slash. The massive experience drop gets him hyped. Level 7 is practically in his grasp. Meanwhile, Sakura waits outside, her anxiety building with every passing minute. The president asks if she is worried since nobody dares solo a dark area. Unless they possess insane power, the pig elder scoffs, chiming in. He has watched countless rookies drown in their own arrogance and end up dead. This is his first time seeing a solo fool challenge a dark area boss. He can only hope that they will at least be able to recover the boy's corpse. Sakura glares at him, absolutely furious at his words, but she holds her tongue. Meanwhile, Tsuyoshi fights on without rest, his stamina rapidly ticking down. His energy and willpower are completely tapped out, even after activating his ultimate physique. Thankfully, he still has Sakura's healing and stamina potions. He chugs them down instantly. Despite the incredibly bitter taste almost making him gag, still he forces them down and fully restores his vitality. Outside, Sakura asks President Doug why he is refusing to leave. Doug admits he is worried whether the human will survive. Suddenly, deep rumbling sounds echo from within the forest, and Sakura quickly reassures him. That noise is her boyfriend's thunder. As long as they hear it, he is still alive. Inside the pitch-black woods, Suyoshi keeps slashing through every single shadow wolf that lunges at him. Finally, he reaches the deepest part of the forest. Standing before a cave with a terrifyingly creepy entrance, he pauses to catch his breath. He chugs more potions while complaining about the absolutely awful taste. Once his reserves are fully topped off, he steps into the dark cavern and comes face to face with the boss. Its level matches the carnivorous darkness. But the sheer pressure is on a whole different level. The beast is incredibly jacked. And that cocky attitude of his vanishes the moment the boss blinks out of sight and immediately launches a brutal, heavy strike. Suyoshi barely blocks it, but the overwhelming force behind the blow is insane. Then, the beast unleashes a massive shockwave that sends cold shivers down his spine, completely paralyzing him with fear. He cannot move a single muscle, no matter what. The boss closes in for another devastating strike, but just in the nick of time. His boundless ring glows brightly, instantly breaking the paralyzing slow effect. With a massive surge of energy, he successfully blocks the attack, his aura exploding. Like a literal anime transformation, even the boss is taken aback and backs off, muttering that he has an incredible presence. It never expected its signature skill to be shattered so easily. Suyoshi is shocked to hear the monster speak, since he assumed these creatures of darkness were just mindless, mute beasts. The boss sneers back, darkness is a higher state of existence than anything else. Just like that, it disappears into thin air again. Suyoshi tries to track the movement, Loki wishing he still had his dark goblin armor set. With that, he could have used roaring tentacles, but it was left behind. Sure enough, the beast unleashes a bloody red mist, completely blinding him with a cheap trick. Suyoshi blocks the incoming strike, but the boss keeps driving its weapon forward, overpowering him and forcing him backward. He barely manages to keep his footing. But things are looking bad. He is already bleeding from a single graze and has zero medicine to stop it. At this rate, he might actually bleed to death. Right here, he starts debating whether to forfeit his 2 remaining retries and retreat to heal up, knowing that staying means certain death either way. Shaking off the doubt, he surges forward with a massive thunderfall attack, landing a direct hit. But why did the boss not even try to dodge? It turns out the beast literally sliced the lightning in half, taking absolutely zero damage. For the first time, Suyoshi starts sweating, realizing he is in deep trouble. Within seconds, the boss charges right at him with its massive greatsword, roaring that it will execute him without needing a sacrifice. The heavy blade crashes directly into our hero with brutal force, knocking his weapon away. The boss laughs, declaring him completely helpless without his sword. The end is near. The monster moves to finish him off, but stops when he sees Suyoshi rising, radiating a dark red aura. It is the same aura the beast just unleashed, leaving it wondering who this human really is. Suyoshi ignores the question entirely and demands to know what this sacrifice skill actually is. The monster reveals it is an exclusive dark skill. Luckily, the beast just stepped right into duplication range. Suyoshi instantly copies it. He steps forward, transforming into a towering, terrifying, monstrous form of his own. He now wields that same sacrifice skill, a desperate power fueled by burning his own blood. It drains half his blood, stripping all buffs for a massive, temporary boost. With this newly forged body, he plans to rip the monster apart using nothing but his bare hands. He heavy steps forward, leaving the shocked boss to stammer out how a mere human copied its ultimate skill. Suyoshi just smirks, telling the beast that copying its power was nothing but a piece of cake. Activating his quick-step skill, he vanishes instantly, leaving nothing but a blur in the air. He reappears right in the beast's face and unleashes a brutal volley of heavy fists. The boss blocks, but its massive weapon instantly shatters under his heavy fists. The boss admits Suyoshi is strong, but mocks him for relying entirely on reckless brute force. Suyoshi snaps back that he does not care about methods as long as the beast dies. He must win before time runs out. With sacrifice active, his healing is completely blocked. He has exactly 1 shot at this. Sensing the danger, the boss tosses its broken sword aside. The beast sneers, asking if he forgot that its own sacrifice skill is still active. It unleashes the skill, warping its body into an even more mutated, hideous shape. But Suyoshi does not flinch. This terrifying transformation does not scare him even a little bit. Instead, he channels his lightning element, wrapping his body in crackling, bright blue energy. He shifts his stance, muttering that he could never forget how the beast defends itself. The monster previously used its own weapon to deflect his ultimate Raiden strike right into the dirt. That is why he forced the beast to use its weapon as a shield, destroying it first. He lunges forward, reinforcing his brutal spiky arm with the ultimate physique skill. He drives his fist straight through the monster's chest, leaving it to bleed out. With one foot already in the grave, the dying beast wonders how a human can be this strong. As it collapses, a system screen announces his victory and the conquest of the dark area. The sacrifice skill fades, and agony tears through his entire body. He feels like he is breaking apart, but he successfully claims the beast's bloody mist saw. The weapon sports a jagged, saw-like blade, and any wounds it inflicts will never heal. A new prompt appears, offering to reset the quest at the cost of one challenge attempt. He can either run this deadly dungeon again or choose to pack up and leave. But staying means earning a massive 50% bonus to his experience points. He immediately hits reset, watching his level shoot up despite the intense pain. He realizes sacrifice is a double-edged sword since the self-inflicted damage refuses to heal. He hoped it would buff him, but it turned out to be a major hassle. The damage is lingering, making him wonder if he should actually head out and rest. If he jumps right into round 2, using that dangerous skill again is his only option. On top of that, Sakura warned him about skipping necessary restock runs. She made it clear that going back in without fresh supplies is pure suicide. But his goal was to level up completely within a week and return home victorious. He simply cannot afford to pass up on this massive 50% experience boost. Power always demands a steep price, so he locks in and selects the next challenge. Meanwhile, Sakura waits outside, anxiously wondering why he is taking so long to emerge. He should be out by now. The president reassures her he likely chose the challenge. It offers massive experience bonuses, but trying to calm her down, he is still worried. Honestly, he is low-key anxious. Suyoshi cannot keep pushing without restocking. Restocking is crucial, and adventurers always risk dying out in that pitch-black area. Greed kills in the dark. Sakura points out he promised to return after the first round. Yet she can still hear thunder. Suddenly, that ugly pig of a man pops up again. After a quick nap, he notices no corpse was spat out, meaning one clear thing. Suyoshi is probably hiding in some corner, shivering in absolute terror. He runs his mouth, claiming even the president was just spewing total nonsense. Then he asks if they seriously believe Suyoshi can survive a medium-tier dark zone alone. And get this, he keeps insulting our guy, saying he should have exited already. If he is dumb enough to try again, then he is surely going to die. He simply does not have enough health potions to survive until the very end. Hearing this absolute trash, Sakura stays completely firm. She knows Suyoshi will return safely, telling the idiot to shut his pathetic mouth. That distant rumbling of thunder is absolute proof he is alive, so she is not worried. Refusing to buy his doom talk, the pig just sneers at her. He laughs, claiming if her boyfriend dies, the blame falls entirely on her shoulders. She should stop trying to comfort herself with all this completely fake confidence. This time, Sakura completely snaps, turning around with a look of pure, murderous intent. Cold bloodlust begins leaking out of her. The president immediately senses the danger. He slams his staff onto the ground, commanding everyone to remain quiet right now. No one speaks until Suyoshi returns, then he orders the pig to step inside. He tries to mutter more garbage, but the president barks at him to scram. The old man thinks the fool has gotten so rusty he cannot even sense bloodlust. But right then, the thunderous rumbling inside suddenly goes dead silent. This gives the arrogant pig yet another perfect excuse to mock her. Watch this, a sharp cracking sound echoes as the heavy seal begins to shatter. A dark figure slowly steps out. The elders instantly brace themselves. But wait, it is just our boy covered in his terrifying sacrifice aura. The dark energy completely dissolves the second he steps clear of the zone. He apologizes to Sakura, telling her he ran it 3 times in a row. Level 9 was achieved, thanks to those massive experience bonuses. Totally exhausted, he collapses straight into Sakura's soft chest. The elders are utterly shocked. How could anyone clear that 3 times straight? Quickly, the president orders the pig to start healing Suyoshi. Using their staffs, they begin mending his heavily damaged nerves and muscles. Honestly, it is a miracle the guy is even breathing right now. He offers his thanks, already feeling a whole lot better than before. Sakura pouts, crossing her arms as she complains about his constant recklessness. He apologizes again for breaking his promises. The temptation of those experience bonuses was just too high to resist. She knows he needs to level up, but his safety comes first. His life is what matters, the president interrupts. He confesses he would never have believed this without seeing it himself. Suyoshi challenged the dark forest 3 times, but that is not all. When he emerged, he radiated a black aura even stronger than darkness itself. For a split second, the president feared the abyss had walked out. If Kevin is a genius, then this human is a complete monster, the pig clerk finally drops. His arrogance and humbly apologizes for his previous insults. Admitting he seriously underestimated human potential, Suyoshi replies that his medical aid was already enough, so there are no hard feelings, but Sakura just looks away. The pig clerk explains that they use the reflect skill to patch up his wounds as much as possible, but his deepest injuries remain untouched. His physical condition is still highly critical. Reflect is an intermediate level spell that mends surface damage to a certain degree. But Suyoshi was so bloodied that a minor delay would have killed him. President Doug suspects Suyoshi used some sort of forbidden magic, but he strictly forbids him from ever touching it again. The residual backlash trapped inside his body could easily ruin his growth. Suyoshi panics, the sacrifice skill is slowly warping his mind. The dark urge to harvest other lives is starting to feel terrifyingly natural. Just as he worries, an entity with massive, glaring eyes flashes in his mind, shocking his soul so violently he nearly collapses right there. Noticing his heavy breathing, Sakura anxiously asks if he is okay. He lies that he is just exhausted, swearing to never use that skill again. President Doug hands over several high-grade medicinal potions, instructing him to drink one daily and meditate right after. That will maximize the healing effects. This is Kevin's personal blend, which will help repair his damaged soul. Still, Doug knows it is not enough. He urges them to go seek out Kevin in person. If the legendary shaman sees his potential, he might take him on as a disciple. Kevin is one of the few masters who holds the legendary law of ruin. This revelation catches Sakura completely off guard. She eagerly asks which of the ancient ruin laws Kevin has mastered, but Suyoshi is clueless. The pig clerk explains that these laws govern the raw magic of heaven and earth. Spells aligned with these supreme laws possess absolutely terrifying, immeasurable power. This cosmic force is known as the Forbidden Spell of Ruin. There are 12 laws, all sealed in dangerous, uncharted territories, the legendary monument. Recording these ruin laws is guarded and updated by the greatest mages of history. The earliest inscriptions date back to ancient times, holding absolute world-ending power. Kevin's genius lies in mastering the 12th law of great winds 12 years ago. That achievement elevated his spellcasting abilities to an unbelievable elite standard. Such immense wind power is incredibly vital for refining top-tier shamanic medicines. It dramatically boosts the purity and injects the ancient law directly into them. If anyone can completely cure Suyoshi's shattered body, it is Kevin. This news sparks hope in both Sakura and Suyoshi. The president hands over an official letter of introduction to secure their meeting. The pig clerk advises preparing valuable items to barter with the eccentric master. With their goal set, the two companions finally leave the shaman guild. The pig asks if that human caught his eye, casually giving away a B-grade forbidden blood potion. It was done like it was nothing, but the president replies that he is just curious. He wants to see how far Suyoshi can climb. Helping him now is just an investment. A solid investment for the future. The pig agrees, noting few have cleared dark areas alone. But the president corrects him, a legendary being birthed their Beastman clan 1,000 years ago. That ancient creator who gave birth to their entire clan was the god king called Gracchus. The ancient god King Gracchus. Meanwhile, Suyoshi asks Sakura if she knows where Kevin lives. She knows the place but warns him it is far, suggesting they level up along the way. It is the fastest route anyway, and it aligns perfectly with their current leveling goals. Suddenly, they spot a crowd of adventurers gathered in one place. They are all talking about forming a party. Sakura explains what is going on. This is a quest point where random missions appear for a limited time. Many adventurers gather here, but these spots eventually vanish or shift locations. She heard the rumors and brought him straight here, hoping for a decent challenge. Suyoshi finds this interesting and decides it is the perfect chance to test his level 9 skills. A spiky-haired leader shouts that they need a level 15 warrior with combat power over 6,000. He promises incredibly generous bonuses and announces that the party is leaving soon. Nearby beastmen whisper that this party has been trying to recruit someone for 2 days now. Even though the promised bonus is great, the quest itself sounds incredibly deadly. Almost nobody at level 15 has that kind of combat power anyway. Especially not with that incredibly stubborn spiky-haired captain leading them. One of the party members pulls the captain aside, suggesting they pick a different quest. 2 days wasted already, and absolutely nobody else is going to show up. The captain snaps instantly, yelling back and asking if his teammate forgot the expensive info. They paid heavily for this secret tavern tip, and he is not backing down. It is a level 12 quest where they can harvest blood rose worth 500 silver. No way he is settling for some mediocre mid-tier quest. Blood rose is a rare material that massively boosts recovery effects. It is highly sought after by shamans and potion makers alike. He is determined not to let this chance slip away. Suddenly, Suyoshi steps right in. Stepping up, he asks to join their team, introducing himself as a low-level warrior. The teammates' eyes sparkle as if a savior just dropped from heaven. Excited, the captain asks for his level, saying level 12 is perfectly fine. But Suyoshi admits he is only level 9, though they can leave the vanguard to him. The captain instantly loses his mind, but his teammates quickly hold him back. They restrain him before he goes berserk while he screams at Suyoshi for wasting their time. With quick words, they calm him down, arguing they cannot waste another day. Any extra body will do as long as they have someone to absorb the damage. The captain finally accepts the harsh reality and agrees to give Suyoshi a shot. He sternly warns him not to wander off or do anything stupid on his own. Suyoshi just chuckles, casually putting a friendly hand on the furious captain's shoulder. Smiling warmly, he says it is his first time joining a real party. Then he starts leading the way forward as if he owns the place. But as they cross the threshold, a system notification flashes right before their eyes. It is a level 15 quest, not 12, they got completely scammed. Up ahead is the forest rhino. The team cowers in absolute terror because they doubt they can even handle this beast, let alone the final boss. Still, the captain tries to rally them, desperately trying to hype them up. He reminds everyone they are level 15 and always survive by working together. And if things go completely sideways, they can use the return horn. Sure, it is a pretty pricey item, but blowing it instantly escapes the quest. At least they have a safety net, but suddenly Tsuyoshi is gone. Before anyone can ask where he went, boom, lightning strikes nearby. Through the smoke, they spot Suyoshi absolutely shredding through a rhino pack. He sighs that these are a joke compared to the dark area monsters. The rest of the party just stands there with jaws on the floor. Seeing him dominate fires everyone up, they finally charge into battle. Following his lead, they can only whisper about how insanely strong he is. He is sprinting ahead, deleting waves of small monsters without breaking a sweat. It is like he already knows their exact weaknesses, the thief whispers. Who on earth is this guy? Skills like that should make you famous. The captain actually has no clue who this absolute beast is, but plays it cool. He just shrugs, claims he meets too many players to remember everyone. Deep down, though, he suspects Suyoshi is some elite guild pro. Meanwhile, our main character is casually grinding. He finds this way too easy. These level 16 monsters feel weaker than level 11 beasts back in the dark area. Suddenly, a bizarre talking tree blocks his path. Time to use Divine Eye. The scan confirms it has toxic thorns and a pretty obvious fire weakness. Big shocker there, since this whole mission is about harvesting blood roses. He wonders if he should grab a few as a gift for Kevin. After instantly chopping down the tree monster in front of him, he shouts a warning. Watch out, because these minions will keep multiplying as they get closer. They are weak against fire, but you seriously need to avoid those poisonous vines. Right on cue, a swarm of tree monsters surrounds the entire party. The captain is completely baffled. How does this guy know everything instantly? He figures Suyoshi is hiding some high-level scanning technique. Then, the captain unleashes his staff, engulfing the tree monster in flame and burning it to ashes. During a quick breather, the leader introduces himself as Victor. Our guy shares his name too, prompting Victor to ask for his story. There is simply no way someone this skilled is just a random player. Suyoshi casually claims to be a newbie, which Victor obviously rejects. Changing the subject, Victor asks if he tracks the regional quest rankings. Our guy is completely clueless, so Victor explains the system. Unlike temporary points that eventually expire, these regional points are permanently fixed. They log completion data, tracking first clears and top performances for every quest. Which means these rankings do not just hand out some generous completion bonuses. They bring massive prestige. The rankings get broadcasted to all regional branches. A high rank makes your entire guild look incredibly legit to outsiders. Tsuyoshi remembers a very similar setup existing back in his original world. So he bluntly asks Victor why he is even bringing this up now. This group formed completely by chance, but Victor actually belongs to Q's guild. Specifically, he is with their elite 15-member pioneer group called the Big Goat Party. He explains his captain is a founding shield warrior who goes by the nickname Big Goat Harvey, but Tsuyoshi still looks totally unimpressed, asking what his point is. Victor explains that a new level 18 quest just dropped, featuring annoying, small shadow beasts hiding in a swamp. They are notoriously tough due to lacking information. However, Tsuyoshi knows everything about these creatures, making him a major clutch asset for them. Luckily, our boy loves a good bonus, pointing out that dark monsters usually mean incredibly high rewards. Victor notes that if they secure the first clear, both the completion record and top rank get locked in together. That means Tsuyoshi receives a massive payout, which is why top groups compete. Everyone wants to be first to beat fixed quests, if he wants in. Victor wants him to meet Captain Harvey. Tsuyoshi decides to take the offer, figuring this is a great way to level up until he gathers better gear. Soon they emerge from the dungeon portal, chatting about their smooth run. Victor is praised for blasting the boss using his powerful fire spells, but he insists that without Tsuyoshi on the field, it would have failed. He could never land that final shot. With Tsuyoshi guiding him, it took 10 seconds to align his spell perfectly with the enemy's weak spot. Meanwhile, our protagonist passes over the blood roses, keeping only what he needs, leaving the rest. The others divide the leftovers, while Victor officially disbands their group. He promises to send their cut of the gold soon, then invites Tsuyoshi to finally meet Captain Harvey. Keeping things highly respectful as always, Tsuyoshi decides to check in with his partner. He heads straight back to his girlfriend, who lovingly wipes his sweat, calling him a genius for getting recruited so early. She mentions it took her until level 30 just to get a similar invite. She happily encourages him to join Victor's raid, knowing it is fantastic experience. While he is away, she plans to scout for rumors in the local town. They will regroup later. Tsuyoshi tells her that if they somehow miss each other, they should just gather at the local branch of the Adventurers Guild. After handing him some helpful potions and pocket money, she warmly bids him farewell. Tsuyoshi departs with Victor, while Sakura takes this perfect opportunity to investigate the talented Kevin, if he truly mastered the legendary Earthwind element fusion. Her strategy to crush him needs to change, but seriously, who is she? And what kind of dark secrets is she hiding beneath that beautiful smile? Victor returns to Captain Harvey, pitching the idea of adding Tsuyoshi to their roster for the upcoming raid. He even wants him to lead, but Harvey immediately refuses. There is no way a level 9 rookie is going to command their top-tier squad. Victor argues that they collected the rare blood roses effortlessly because of Tsuyoshi. But their teammate Luke scoffs, claiming Victor lost his mind hanging around scrubs. Victor tells them to judge Tsuyoshi themselves since he is already here. However, Luke calls him completely insane for dragging some random lobby in. Frustrated, Victor gets desperate to shut Luke up and prove his point. While Harvey still harbors serious doubts, he ultimately agrees to a quick meeting. Harvey agrees to let Victor bring Tsuyoshi in, and Victor leads him right over. Tsuyoshi introduces himself and states his level, but Luke immediately scoffs, saying he looks completely useless. He says the kid looks incredibly weak. Victor tells Suyoshi to just ignore the rude comments. Luke always shoots his mouth off anyway. Harvey steps up, asking Suyoshi how confident he really is. He wants to know their chances. Suyoshi calmly claims he is 100% confident. He has only one condition for this guarantee: they must let him act as the captain. He wants to lead the charge. Luke freezes, reminding Suyoshi who they are dealing with here. The giant standing right there is their famous Captain Harvey, and their entire group is fully stacked. They are all well-known veterans. Even Victor starts sweating because Suyoshi is demanding total control. He asks Suyoshi what exactly this sudden request to take the wheel is all about. Suyoshi clarifies it is only for this quest. Harvey sighs and steps in to explain. He reveals other teams have tried this mission, but everyone wipes out at one particular spot. In fact, their own party has already failed 6 times. Every single attempt drains precious resources. They have wasted tons of potions and already burned 2 gold coins on this entire mess. Suyoshi promises that if they hand over the lead, he will absolutely guarantee a successful clear. Luke loses his temper, shouting at Harvey to teach this arrogant kid a lesson right now. But to everyone's shock, Harvey accepts Suyoshi's condition, giving him a cold warning. He has a simple warning: fail and there will be zero mercy. Luke keeps arguing, insisting this level 9 kid is clearly a scammer who tricked Victor. Kick them out, he demands they both leave the group immediately. Harvey snaps, asking if Luke even realizes how much the entire guild has been mocking them. They are a laughingstock because they fail while other teams achieve greatness. He says if they secure the first clear, the glory will finally belong to them. This is their only shot, a real chance to reclaim their reputation. Even a tiny chance is worth taking, if Suyoshi turns out to be a fraud. Harvey will personally deal with him later. Soon they arrive at the crowded quest site. Other players instantly notice Harvey's squad showing up, but things look incredibly weird. Instead of their usual massive captain, a slender kid in bizarre clothes is leading them. A rival dogman starts laughing, mocking them for acting tough despite having no real strength. He sneers that if they keep failing, they won't even afford a decent meal. Victor quickly whispers to Suyoshi, explaining that this rival captain always targets them. While the guy is highly annoying, his words actually carry a pretty painful truth. Constant failures have left their party completely broke. No wonder they feel the heat. The pressure on Harvey's shoulders is immense. Suyoshi listens quietly, understanding their plight. He steps forward, bumping right into the obnoxious dogman. Suyoshi casually apologizes for blocking his path, which instantly triggers the loudmouthed rival. The dogman barks at Harvey, asking if this cocky new captain will cry like always. Suyoshi completely ignores the barking and calmly accepts the dangerous quest. With his divine eye skill active, this run is going to be incredibly easy. He plans to show them a flawless, top-tier performance. They step into the portal. Harvey asks for the plan. Suyoshi first asks to confirm the experience distribution. Harvey nods. The party's honor is far more important than some initial points anyway. Handing over the leadership was already a massive gamble on his part. Suyoshi pulls up his system menu and verifies the configuration setup. Every bit of experience is coming his way. Meanwhile, Luke seethes with rage. Jealousy consumes him as Suyoshi hoards all the experience. It even looks like he is secretly plotting something bad. Meanwhile, Suyoshi takes the next step and switches the quest to hard mode. This dangerous option will triple all his experience points and rewards. Since he is starving for levels, this is a perfect opportunity. The moment he activates it, the sky turns a bloody red. The sudden change shocks everyone, making this feel like a suicide run. He is terrified. Victor starts trembling, fearing Suyoshi ruined everything. He explicitly warned him not to activate it without learning the quest. Luke takes this opening to mock them for trying hard mode. He says no one has even cleared normal mode yet, calling Suyoshi a waste of time. But if they back out now, they will become absolute laughingstocks. Luke grips their last return horn, complaining that he brought it just in case. Now they have to waste their only escape because of this absolute scammer. Suyoshi ignores them. He charges forward, completely confident in his plan. He promises that his divine eye will get them through this safely. With enough teammates, they can clear this quest without a single scratch. The moment they enter the swamp, small monsters emerge from the mud. He activates his divine eye, analyzing the approaching swamp crocodiles. Individually, they are weak, but their coordinated biting is extremely lethal. Luckily, they have a major weakness against fire and lightning. The surrounding water can easily conduct all his electrical attacks. Luke panics, he screams that they are all going to die. Even Harvey starts to suspect that their new leader has deceived them. But Suyoshi orders them forward, calling for the fire magicians to step up. Victor decides to trust him, charging ahead with the other mages. The rest reluctantly rush in too, knowing they have no other choice. While Suyoshi fights, the crocodiles suddenly coordinate for a massive strike. Harvey yells out a warning, but Suyoshi calmly slices them down anyway. He instructs the fire mages to aim exactly 1 meter ahead of him. Their flames merge beautifully with his thunder, doubling the damage output. All 6 crocodiles are instantly vaporized at once, leaving Victor completely speechless. Suyoshi explains that his thunderfall inflicts status weakening first. Once weakened, any follow-up strike deals double damage. He looks incredibly cool here, channeling serious Sung Jinwoo vibes with those blue eyes. The group finally begins to gain confidence in his strategy. They realize they can actually clear this by exploiting weaknesses. Harvey is completely stunned. He wonders who this guy actually is. How is a level 9 player pulling off these completely insane calculations? Luke stumbles back in disbelief, claiming it was only pure luck. Nobody can analyze a battlefield that perfectly under heavy pressure. Victor snaps, he tells the coward to shut his mouth. Dragging the entire team down with constant whining is just embarrassing. Suyoshi warns them there is no time to argue, ordering them forward. They all surge behind him, leaving a pathetic Luke in the dust. Once the damp area is cleared of monsters, the group crouches down. Suyoshi activates his divine eye to scan the path ahead, while Victor warns him. Plenty of other squads got wiped out in this very swamp, asking what their move is. Luke scoffs, cutting in to point out these are just standard darkness-type monsters. They have dealt with this before, and failing now means the big goat party will mock them. Victor snaps back, reminding everyone they only made it this far because of their captain. They have taken 0 damage up to this point, which is an absolute first for them. So why is Luke being such a bitter critic right now? Luke yells in response, telling Victor to remember who actually holds the real rank. Suyoshi might be leading temporarily, but Luke is still the official vice captain here. He claims he is just watching out for everyone, but Harvey quickly shuts him up. Harvey warns them not to disturb their leader while he is focused so deeply. He assumes Suyoshi is planning, though in reality things are quite different. Their leader is simply running his scan, and the results finally flash before his eyes. There is absolutely no way around this swamp, as the next zone lies directly behind it. The system suggests a single decoy should draw the beasts away while the rest slip past. It highlights a perfect path, though it is currently crawling with 15 dark creatures. Suyoshi memorizes the layout, finally speaking up to address the bickering team. He admits Luke was right about one thing: he is only a temporary captain. Anyone who dislikes his leadership can leave now, but while he is in charge, they listen. They must follow his orders. Luke starts to argue, but Harvey instantly cuts him off. This only serves to make the vice captain even more incredibly irritated. This bitter attitude reminds Suyoshi of his weak, vulnerable past self. Back then, people like Luke could have easily broken his spirit. But toxic people exist in every world, always looking to bully the weak. They prey on the weak, so he has to get stronger. There is no other choice. He stands up, telling the team they must cross this dangerous swamp to move forward. Harvey agrees, mentioning he once reached the halfway point and saw the exit path. However, avoiding the dark monsters lurking in the mud is practically impossible. They strike without warning, meaning things could go south very quickly. One single wrong move means blowing their escape horn, or worse, they die. Even though the terrain is unfamiliar and highly restrictive, Suyoshi tells them not to worry. It is dangerous, sure, but they really do not need to worry. He will stay behind as bait, allowing Harvey to guide the others safely across. Once they are clear, he will catch up. Victor immediately calls it way too reckless. Harvey respects his power, but even he cannot support such a suicidal move. Luke just sneers, mocking their captain for proposing such a suicidal strategy. He warns Suyoshi not to expect any of them to save his skin. Ignoring the insults, Suyoshi hands Victor a piece of paper with the safe route. This path will keep them far away from the deadliest pockets of monsters. Distracting them is only step one, as he intends to completely clear them out. He asks the group if he has ever made a single reckless decision so far. Complete silence, the sudden question completely stuns the entire party. He turns and steps forward, instructing them to wait for his signal. With that, he steps into the muddy swamp, finding it far nastier than expected. Expected, sure, but absolutely perfect for lightning attacks, Luke asks Harvey if he actually trusts a level 9 guy against these darkness monsters. Harvey says, "It is hard to believe, but Suyoshi has real grit," Victor cuts in. To say he trusts their new ally completely, rank does not matter to him, and Suyoshi just gave them the perfect path to the next area. A few minutes later, a terrifying darkness soul eater pops right out of the swamp. It is completely immune to fire, but lightning will absolutely tear it apart the moment it lunges. To gobble him up, Suyoshi swings his sword, slicing it to ribbons, and then he sends a massive electrical surge through the water to bait the remaining beasts. He activates ultimate physique to boost his leg strength, securing solid footing on the mud. Like a legendary ninja, he suddenly bolts in the opposite direction, pulling the monsters away with him. He shouts back to Harvey, telling him to lead the group down the safe path. The others are completely stunned that he actually pulled this off. Honestly, who could blame them with Suyoshi on their squad? Clearing any quest seems possible. Victor swells with pride. Even Luke, who hated this plan, starts realizing he had completely underestimated their new leader. Harvey guides the group forward while their captain draws the creatures away. Suyoshi sprints toward a clear combat zone to deal with them. He quickly realizes that piercing strikes do the most damage, so he infuses those thrusts with lightning to make them hit like a truck. Meanwhile, the rest of the team manages to escape the swamp completely unharmed. They are ecstatic, having never made it across before, especially since rival groups have always failed here. Victor scouts the path ahead and returns with excellent news. They have reached the boss zone, and the boss does not look particularly tough. Now they are literally one step from victory. A few members want to charge right in while the rest want to hold back. Surprisingly, Luke completely changes his tune, arguing they should wait for Captain Suyoshi, making everyone stare because they simply cannot believe those words came from him. Looking pretty embarrassed, Luke admits he doubted Suyoshi at first, but thanks to their captain they got this far, and that is honestly pretty impressive. Since they are already at the boss area, it is smarter to wait for Suyoshi and enter together. Harvey bursts out laughing at this sudden personality flip, but he agrees to wait for their captain too. Right then, Suyoshi shows up looking a bit beat up. Seeing them waiting there, he casually mentions he cleared out those monsters. Time to team up and take down the boss. Luke is completely flabbergasted that he beat all those enemies. He cannot believe Suyoshi is still just a level 9 rookie. Harvey's eyes go wide too. He decides that once this quest wraps up, he will recommend Suyoshi directly to the guild master. Activating Divine Eye, Suyoshi sees the boss is called the Swamp Watcher, nothing less than a mythical creature. He also notices there is no boss gate even though they are running hard mode. Luke stands next to him, explaining that hard mode does not always guarantee a boss gate because the existence of those trigger points depends on the boss's raw power, not the quest tier itself. Even on easy quests, a powerhouse boss might still trigger a gate. Suyoshi realizes that the boss's raw power is the real key, and that strange one-eyed gate seems unique to dark types. It stood back in the dark area, and for some reason that eye still gives him chills. That icy feeling lingers, but Luke is already preparing to charge the trigger point and fight head-on. But Suyoshi blocks him. He's already calculated a perfect strategy. He tells Harvey and Luke to lead the warriors and just fight the way they normally do. Magicians form pairs, prepping their absolute biggest spells. They must hold off on casting until his signal, while the others gather the party's debuff items. He wants bleeding or poison-inducing gear distributed evenly to their most agile members. Since this boss already boasts massive health, the hard mode modifier actually doubles it. This means the fight becomes way easier if they keep stacking debuffs non-stop. They surround the beast and pile on status effects. Meanwhile, Suyoshi will divide its attention and help keep its massive health pool in check. Hearing the plan, everyone locks in and positions themselves exactly how he commands. They know he is not guessing, he reads the entire battle easily. Outside, the dogman and his crew notice the dungeon portal has suddenly shifted to a deep red. The dogman immediately assumes some human warrior tricked the big goat party into going inside. He expects them to blow the return horn and flee, and he cannot wait to laugh at them. He is ready to clown them in public due to his deep grudge against the big goat crew. They are a human group operating under a beastman guild, and he hates seeing them. In his eyes, these weak humans have stolen glory for too long. He is waiting for their walk of shame to mock them publicly. Back inside, the agile fighters struggle against the boss, making Victor extremely nervous. He asks Suyoshi if they should launch their magic support, but the request gets shut down. Suyoshi tells them to hold their ground because he has already figured out the monster's movements. Just wait for his order, he commands, spotting the perfect opening moments later. He instantly orders the second magician group to unleash hell. The attack lands perfectly on the distracted beast's back, shifting the battle in their favor. 15 minutes of intense fighting later, they actually manage to take down the massive threat. This terrifying boss had haunted elite players for years. Harvey and Luke are completely stunned by the victory and make a quick decision. They must recommend Suyoshi to their guild leader as a top-tier asset. With him on their side, conquering any mission feels like a total breeze. Suyoshi scoops up all the experience points, instantly hitting level 10 and unlocking rare gear. A sleek black armor set appears, and he immediately equips the legendary-looking suit. The dark metal forms around him, highlighting his sharp features and insane visual presence. Luke admits that if Suyoshi had dressed like this before, he never would have doubted him. Harvey cuts him off, turning to Suyoshi with a massive favor to ask. Meanwhile, outside the portal, the dogman and his buddies hear approaching footsteps. He starts preparing his insults, eager to roast the failing big goat party. They expect to see defeated, miserable faces, but wait until you see what pops up next. A global system notification announces that the big goat party has successfully cleared the quest. The dogman's eyes practically pop straight out of his skull. The entire squad steps out of the portal, led by a dark warrior clad in black armor. Suyoshi entered looking like a weak nobody, but walked out like an absolute powerhouse. He looks just like Jinwoo, leaving the other teams completely stunned. Harvey and Luke feel a wave of pride. It has been ages since anyone looked at them like this. But they know the truth, every bit of this sudden glory belongs to Suyoshi. Harvey promises to recommend him to their guild master. At the same time, Victor spots that annoying dog man lingering nearby, bragging about their new record. The dog man scoffs, muttering that they only won because they dragged along some overpowered stranger. But Suyoshi immediately shuts him down, bringing up the trash talk from earlier. The dog man starts sweating bullets, stammers out an apology, and then has the absolute nerve to invite Suyoshi into his own group. He realizes this kid is a gold mine. Suddenly, other adventurers notice and swarm the area, desperately trying to recruit the new powerhouse. This madness is nothing new. He saw it constantly with top heroes in his old world. True talent is a hot commodity, no matter the world. If you have real strength, people will hunt you down. Harvey shouts that Suyoshi is already joining Q's guild, pushing his way through the crowd. As they walk through the Beastman city, the northern locals stare intently at the big goat party. People whisper, wondering if this good-looking human is actually the new leader of their squad. If he is leading them, his level must be way higher than Harvey's level 18. But our poor guy still stuck at level 10. Right before they enter the building, Suyoshi remembers Sakura. They had promised to meet at the guild. He is not sure if she is there, but walking in together sounds pretty good. Inside the Adventurers Guild, a couple of sleazy beastmen are busy harassing a beautiful receptionist.